Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the planet. I hope you're well. Welcome to Brooks's Bass Corner. This is live chat 101. Last week was 100. We had a cake. Cake got eaten. This week's 101. Hope you're all safe and well. Hope your bass playing's going great. You're very welcome here, Brooks's Bass Corner. We're talking basses, bass amps, bass effects, bass accessories, strings, gig bags, anything to do with bass playing. So if you want to talk about basses, maybe your gear isn't working, maybe you've got your first audition coming up to be a bass player in a band, maybe you're trying to set up your first pedal board, who knows? But you're very welcome here. We'll try and offer you as much advice, help, good conversation, and advice as we can muster. We're a very friendly bunch, so come on in. It's good to see you. I know Pete from Holland, Neoland, will be joining us shortly because he messaged me earlier about a video idea. So you come on in when you're ready, Pete. So I hope everyone's safe and well out there. Thank you for attending. If you're watching this after the event, you're welcome too. The conversation might have stopped in the live chat window, but you can still converse via the comments section underneath the video window. So if you've got any questions about anything we talk about today, or any topics of conversation, or anything that we end up talking about and you want to comment on it, then feel free to do that. If you're new to the channel, come on in. You're very welcome. All I ask of anyone watching the video is if you enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. Stacy from North Carolina, good to see you. If you're enjoying the video, if you like what we do here on the channel, and this actually goes for every video on the channel, if you are enjoying the content, please give it a thumbs up. Thumbs ups are the biggest help to the channel and the individual videos within the YouTube algorithm. So if you enjoy this live chat, once we get into it, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you can share any of the video content out to social media, that's fabulous too. And please leave comments. All three of those things, thumbs ups, shares, comments, the biggest thing you can do to help the video. I don't necessarily ask for subscribers anymore because I think it's a vanity metric. Videos we've got here on the channel in some cases far exceed the number of subscribers we've got. And about, let's think, when was it? Last summer when we came back onto the live chats, found out that you can be a subscriber to the channel, have the notification bell set to all, so you're allegedly meant to be notified of everything that we post up here on the channel, and found out through the analytics that you don't. So I can post up 20 videos and chances are you're not going to be notified that they're all there. So in that case, you begin to ask, well, what's the point of subscribers? But if you wish to subscribe to the channel, it's very helpful. Thank you very much. But you won't get me banging on about it here on the live chats and the videos anymore, about hitting that subscribe button. You can. It's great if you do, but I'm not going to nag you about it. Thumbs ups, shares and comments are the most important things. So I hope you've all had a good week in your bass playing. Where were we last Saturday? We were here, weren't we, Mike? We did live chat 100. So the cake has been eaten, of course. That didn't last very long. I think that made it till about Tuesday, and then I polished the rest of that off, so that was good. And then I had a gig last Saturday with the Request Band in central London, and that was great. We had a great time, played some great songs, actually. I hadn't played, well, in fact, you know what? I don't think I've ever learnt You're the Voice by John Farnham, one of my favourite songs anyway. Great bass line, it's a fretless bass line. And I had no indication we were going to be playing this, so I hadn't learnt it. Literally, as we're setting up, piano player said, oh, there's a request for You're the Voice. You're okay with that, aren't you? I know the song, of course, but I said, I can't replicate the bass line. I've never learnt it. He said, well, the chords are this. Da, 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 da. And I went, all right, but we'll have a go then. So thankfully I had octave pedals with me, and I did my best fretless impersonation with that, based around the chords I'd been told, and it went down a storm. So that was a nice little surprise. And there were a couple of other really good choices. If you were at Greek Street Live, which is around the corner from Ronnie Scott's in the centre of London last Saturday, and you stayed for the band at 9 o'clock, let me applaud you. You guys really picked out some great songs, so thank you very much. So that gave me something to learn this week. So that's the only show I've had. I've now got basically 2 weeks with no gigs. Next Saturday's my next... No, what am I talking about? Next Thursday's my next show. Nothing this weekend, and that's fine. I can do the live chat. Got a video out last night, which was the Anaconda Ultra J5 Essence bass. If you haven't seen it, let me put a link up in the live chat window. And if you want to check that out, that'd be fab. Great bass. All the Anaconda stuff is quite fabulous. I don't think Andrew really watches us. Andrew Taylor Cummings, the guy that heads up Anaconda basses. But all of the stuff I've had for review over the past year and a bit has been quite outstanding. So if you want to check that out, feel free. I did actually have the influence to influence a friend of mine, Anthony Dewhurst, if you're out there, mate. And he watched the video. I think it was the review video and the demo of the 4-string version of the Ultra Essence last year. And he ended up selling his GB Spitfire, which gave him a lot of money in his pocket, of course. And then he went and bought the Anaconda. And I spoke to him, I think before Christmas. I said, how's that bass going? And he said, it's outstanding, absolutely amazing. And I think what also helped was the fact that he bought it as a result of that review video and the demos going up. Andrew did like a sale price on those models. So Anthony managed to pick up a real bargain there. So if you're watching, Mr. Dewhurst, I hope that bass is still serving you well. But anyway, last night it was the review video for the 5-string. So if you want to check that out, that link is right there in the live chat window. Or you can just go on the channel and find it there. It's doing quite well. It's done quite well overnight, I think. Let's just have a quick look at the analytics, shall we? Oh, yes, that's motoring along very nicely. As is a YouTube short that I put up a couple of days ago, which was actually taken from the bass collection video, which went up 2 years ago. I managed to use a piece of software in the week that basically, if you put a long form video in, it'll go in using AI, it'll analyze the best clips to pull out and create them into 60-second shorts. Doesn't mean all my shorts are 60 seconds, of course, but it worked very well. Created a load of clips, and I put one up of the GB Spitfire, basically talking about it, why I bought it, how I found it, when I bought it, and all that. And that video is flying as well. It's snowballing, so it's sort of getting more and more views on a day-by-day basis. I was intending on putting some remix shorts up following that review last night today, but at the moment I'm not going to do it because that short is just going, and I don't want to curtail its momentum. So shorts will be delayed for a day or two until that sort of video loses its traction, and then it'll sit there and it'll sit within the algorithm and do its thing. But yeah, so those are the videos that have been up this week. There's going to be the last of the Anaconda reviews, which will be the Ultra J4E Elite. There's a demo of it already on the channel, which I did a year ago. If you want to check that out and get a heads up on what that bass is all about, and it's quite fab. There's a demo of it right here. I'm going to put the link up. Just bear me a second. There we go. There it is. We'll just put that in there. So if you want to see how that bass sounds and plays, that's the demo for it, which I did a year ago. And the review of that, I'm going to try and work on that tonight after this live chat's finished. We're going through for about 3 hours. And I'm going to try and get that video out and published tomorrow. And then basically we got a clear run then. So I've got the Flatley pedals to go up review-wise. And there will also be the Neil Murray Snakebite basses from the Bass Centre. They're here. Demos, shorts and reviews for those this week. And then we have a very clear slate. So basically I can start doing whatever content I want. So more reviews, more demos, get some of the old vintage interviews out. Thank you. Yes, we're aware someone's at the door. Thank you. And we can start doing more of the feature videos. So I've got a whole list of ideas on a whiteboard right over there. And thankfully that will be the backlog clear, and then we can start really motoring. So it's all good. So if you've enjoyed the videos this week, thank you very much. Thank you for all the new subscribers. We've had 3 times this week we've had a subscriber surge, where I've had about 7, 8, 9, 10 people joining within a day. So if you've joined the Brooks's Base Corner bus, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the journey. Feel free to have a mooch around the channel, find some content that suits you, and leave comments. Please give the videos thumbs up if you enjoy them. And if you wish to share them out to various base pages on social media, go for it. Absolutely go for it. Yes, please. More of that. So I'm very aware today, so it's 22nd of February. It's getting warm outside. And here's where we start to see the drop-off on viewers on the live chat, because you're going to be busy. You're going to be busy doing shopping. You're going to be busy doing all sorts of things that people should be doing on a Saturday afternoon. So that's all cool. So while I've got you, gang, if you can put your brains in gear for this thing, I mentioned it last week on the live chat. Please, on today's live chat, let me know if you want the live chats to stay on Saturdays, as we've been doing since New Year, or we revert back to Tuesday evenings. Tuesday evenings here in the UK. It'll be Tuesday afternoons in the US, Tuesday mornings if you're on the West Coast. But I need to know before I start booking those live chats into the YouTube studio. So if you prefer the live chats being at this time or a little earlier on a Saturday, let me know that. And if you want it to go back to Tuesdays, then we'll go with that. I can't really do both, because I can't split the audience in that way, because it basically has ramifications for how the live chats and the channel does in the eyes of the algorithm. So if I've got 200 people watching the live chats, I don't want to have 100 on a Saturday and 100 on Tuesday. That doesn't really work. I need to kind of take as many of you with me on that journey based on which day we're going to do it. So if you have a preference, let me know. I will put up some posts on the community tab over the next 2-3 weeks. I'm just trying to gauge what you guys want to do. I know a lot of you come in either from YouTube or from Facebook, and you just go with the flow, and that's all cool. That's fine. But for the regular diehards who sort of regularly attend the live chats, if you have a preference, let me know, because it will make a difference as to which option we go for. So this week, got a very busy week this week. I'm trying to keep on top of my schedule. So as well as all the stuff here on YouTube, Tuesday will be the funeral for Nick Smith. We did a kind of remembrance live chat a couple of weeks ago. And if any of you are attending on Tuesday, I'll see you there. And also I'll put it out there. I put it on Base Chat a couple of days ago. I'll put it on the Facebook channel at some point as well. If anyone wants to go and you're London based and you're thinking, I don't want to go to Peterborough, it's a long drive, it's 100 miles, 90 to 100 miles each way. I'm going to be going from sort of northwest London. So basically, if you can get yourself, if you want to go, but you're thinking, I just don't want to drive, if you want to come with me and car share, feel free. I'm going to be leaving from the Hillingdon and sort of West Ruislip area by about 11 o'clock on Tuesday. So if you want to come, you can get to either of those tube stations, Hillingdon on the Piccadilly or Metropolitan line, or West Ruislip on the Central line. As long as you can get to one of those, feel free. Let me know, and I'll come pick you up, and we'll go together. And it's at Peterborough Cathedral, 2:30. And then there's a celebration of Nick's life at the Crescit in... Oh, now, let me just get the information right, because that would be really bad if I get it wrong. Just bear me a moment, people. It is at the... you've got to scroll down there, Mike. That'd be good. It will be at the Cresset in Breton, which is about 10-15 minute drive from the cathedral. So friends and family. But the service will be at Peterborough Cathedral, Tuesday 25th of February from 2:30. And then from 3:30 at the Cresset in Breton. So like I say, if any of you watching the live chat are based here in the UK and you want to come in, feel free. Let me know. And as long as we can hook up at one of the relevant tube stations, then we're all good. I'm just checking. There's not a lot of activity on the chat here. Okay, just keeping an eye on this. Stacey, you're out there. I can see you. Can you just message? Let me know this is all fine. I'm assuming it is. No one else has said anything. I can see that the stream is live. I can see all the activity. But only you have said hello. So I'm assuming this is what I was saying a moment ago. Maybe people have got other things to do on a Saturday afternoon, which is also why I'm thinking we may move back to the Tuesday evening. But if someone's watching this live chat, can you just give me a thumbs up? Let me know that the sound is working, that the visuals are working, that everything's okay. Normally there's a bit of a flurry within the first 15 minutes, and at the moment I'm not seeing one. So I just need to know that someone out there is watching. I can see there are 3 people watching, because that's on my display. Stacey's there. I'm assuming the emoji hands waving means everything's okay. But yes, it's a fairly open-ended live chat this week. There's no topic of conversation as such. It's if you've got any issues, good on coming through loud and clear. Fabulous. Thank you very much for that confirmation. So if you've got any questions about basses, bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, accessories, strings, cleaning your basses, getting them all gig fit, ready for festival season, it's we're over halfway through February. Gigs are starting to roll in. You know, festival season is not far away. It's very close. Those workshop videos I've been promising for weeks, months, are filmed. I just need to edit them up. Might get 1 or 2 of those through this week. Stacey, yes, just getting ready for your Saturday haircut client. Thank you very much. That's okay. I just wanted to know that all the technical stuff was working, which is good. Good to see. So this week, yes, we have Nick Smith's funeral. And then, just bear me a moment, I'm just checking everything on there is right. Yep, that's good. And then Wednesday, I've got stuff here at home to get doing. And then on Thursday, I'm playing at Boysdale's. I've never played at Boysdale's, over in Canary Wharf, which is one of the venues, part of a chain, owned by Jules Holland. So I'm going to be playing there with Crazy Little Thing Called Queen. I think we're on about 9 o'clock, I think 9 or 9:30. I think we go through till about 11. We're doing one set, hour and a half, all the hits, all the classics. And if you want to come along, let me know. I do have access to a guest list and tickets. I know some people have actually already bought tickets. They've been on sale for a while, and I've had a few messages from people going, "Are you playing in that band?" Yeah, I am. So I will be there. We've got a very early load-in. I think we've got to be there for like 3:30. It's an early affair. Got to be sound checked by 5, and then there's a lot sitting around, which is fine. Have no problem with that. And then Friday, I've got something going on Friday. I know that. There is definitely something going on Friday, but it escapes my brain at the moment. MOT, of course, MOT service on the car. And then 1st of March, Saturday, I've got live chat with you fabulous people, and I've got a request show in London in Greek Street. And then Sunday, depending on how things pan out, I may be attending the guitar and bass show in Birmingham. We'll wait and see. I'm not committing to it at the moment because I can't guarantee that I'm going to be there, but I might be. And if I do, then there'll obviously be a load of content filming. Might even do a live chat from the show. Who knows? We will see. And then we're into March and it starts to go a little loopy. So there's gigs every weekend. I've got rehearsals. We've got Decades of Dance show coming up in early part of April. So we've got rehearsals for that. I've got some Queen shows, request shows, got some Uncle Funk shows. I think there's some ABBA in there as well. So it's all busy. I'm just looking at the diary here, the online diary. And then we get into April and it kind of all hell lets loose. You know, it's all going. So got to get these basses ready to go for festival season. Like I say, a bunch of the workshop videos I've done this week. So, several of the basses are ready to go. There's about 4 that I didn't get finished. So they'll get done over the next couple of days and then those videos will be out there. So if you've enjoyed the workshop videos here on the channel that we've done, I'll be doing another load. Yep, the banners are all there, so I can turn that off. Let's see. So if you want to join me here on Brooks's Bass Corner on the live chat 101, live chat 101, it's not room 101. If you want to join me live, you can do. Drop me an email. There's a ticker running along the bottom of the screen. So send me an email, brooksysbasscorner@gmail.com. Got my email open here so I can see as soon as you send an email. I send you an invite. You click on the invite, you come straight through. I've just remembered I need to send Mr. Jamie Millard a copy of the invite. So bear with me a moment. And I hadn't done it. It was a little busy before we came on the live chat here at Shay Brooks. I said I'd do that. He's at the gym. And he said last night, send me a link and then I can just go straight on when I'm out of the gym. My oversight, sorry mate, but we'll get there. Oops, if you press return there, I find I get a little thing on my phone saying confirm. Anytime today's good, Facebook, if you wish to do that. That's great, thanks. There we are. Yeah, that's me. Certainly is. Splendid. There we go. Excellent. And we'll just go and see him and where's he gone? There he is. Very good. That's there, and then I need to send him a little email from there. And we're going for, oh, bear me a moment, gang. Just a bit cat-handed today. Right. Also, I've moved my email software over to an email client that I used to use and haven't used in a long time. And just getting back into using it. Right, there we are. Very good. No, you've made a right pig's ear of that. Right. Right. Reply to that. That's probably easiest, isn't it? Just reply to that. That's better. Right. Sorry, just trying to use an email client I used to use up until about 2 years ago when 3 years ago when my hard drive just melted in this PC. And when I came to reset up that email client in January 2022, it wouldn't accept my Gmail logins and I had to move over to something else, which I've not particularly enjoyed, if I'm honest. And this week, I was watching some stuff on YouTube about email clients, and they said Thunderbird had been rewritten and now had no issues with Gmail. I was like, oh, right, okay. Well, if that's the case, I can start using it again. So I've been using it, or getting used to using it, all week, and it's been a revelation. It's been quite fabulous, actually. I didn't realize one piece of software could change how you work so radically, but it does. And it has, and now I can just drag and drop emails across accounts of all types without any grief. Love it. Stacey, 101 live chats. That is amazing. Yeah, we carry on. We'll see how far we go, won't we? I take it you finished the 100th live chat celebration cake. Of course I did. That didn't get past Tuesday. That lasted until I got back from dog walk on Tuesday mid-morning, and then that was finished off, the last bit. Nothing went to waste, I can guarantee. That is for sure. So I had a very nice box set appear yesterday. So this has been on order for a while. I know the release date was changed a couple of times. So if anyone follows the social media, or even my own social media, I posted up about this yesterday. This is the Nick Kershaw, the MCA years. It's a box set. It's got, I think, 10 albums and a DVD in it. So it's got all the albums he did for MCA Records, so all the famous stuff. Loads of remixes, B-sides, live recordings, live DVDs across a couple of shows, and it's substantial. But anyway, should be good. I'll show you. There's the track listing on the back. It's not going to be able to focus, or is it? It might if I get out of the way. There we go. Whole load of stuff on there. So that'll be great to listen to in the car over the next couple of months. So well done, Nick. You got it out there, mate. Eventually. It's took some time to get that collated and released, but well done. I hope it's very successful for you. I know Mr. Paul Geary, who's his touring bass player. So Paul, if you watch him, well done. I hope he's getting you a gold watch for years of service, because you've been playing with Nick since 98. It's nearly 30 years. Well done, mate. Very impressive. Very impressive. And dare I say it, perhaps bigger than ever at the moment. His tours go from strength to strength. So if any of you caught Nick Kershaw on his tour last year, it looked great. It sounded great. And fabulous, you know. After all these years, artists that you, not in the nicest possible way, you think are dead and buried, like as we came through the 90s. So many of the 80s artists just disappeared, just weren't relevant to the scene. Their audience had dwindled. But keep plugging away, like with Go West, like with Tony Hadley. If you're good, and if you can sing, and you can put on a good show, and your product and your songwriting is good, you will continue to have a valid, durable career. And how many of these guys are still doing it, and doing it really, really well? I mean, Go West is a good show. Nick's very good. Tony Hadley. I know people in all these bands. They're just great. So well done, lads. Well done. Very good indeed. So what's the bass news? Has anyone bought anything this week? Anything new on the gear front? There's nothing here. I'm trying to keep my spending down at the moment. I can see some hefty expenditure coming my way later in the year. So I'm trying to keep purchases down. But that's fine. That shouldn't impact any of the content, because there's so much backed up that that won't have any effect on all the stuff that's going to be filmed. So it's all good. Stacey, it makes people glad that they made that investment. Yeah, put teeth in. It makes people glad they made that investment years ago. Yeah. I didn't, in fact, the first two most popular Nick Kershaw albums I didn't buy. For some reason, just didn't get around to buying them. But I got the third one as a Christmas present, Radio Musicola. I liked a couple of the singles that came off it. But I still never got round to buying the albums. And times just passed by. And then I saw mention of that. And I thought, wow. I'll have that. And I was umming and ahhing about it. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. So it's got all the big albums on there. And but all the extra material, all the remixes back in the mid-80s, every time an artist released a single, there was multiple remixes and the B-sides and the this and the live versions. And And this has all been curated into a very, very nice box set. So yeah, looking forward to getting stuck into that. Should be good. Should be good. So have you got any questions about any of the new content that's been up on the channel? Any of the new videos? If you've seen last night's review video, the Anaconda Ultra J5 Essence, which I had here as one of 4 videos back in December 2023, and I did all the filming and everything, and I started rolling those videos out last spring, and totally intended to finish them all up, get them all done before we kind of got to April, and then family matters sort of took over, and yeah, with everything that happened here and in the family in the past 12 months, they kind of got a bit curtailed. But anyway, I've tried my best. I've even still got my notes from the review session, so it's all there, as well as the specs and stuff that came through from Andrew at Anaconda at the time. So I've got one video left, the Ultra J4E Elite, and then those are all put to bed, and then we can start moving on the other content. So looking forward to that very much. It should be good. So if you've got any questions, anything, maybe some of you are out gigging, and because gigs are now starting. I was supposed to be on a gig next Saturday, actually. Before the request show, I was supposed to be doing, it's the weirdest sounding gig, playing at a service station near Rotherham, doing covers for a couple of hours. But unfortunately, the gig, it was weird. I was like, playing at the services. And why are we doing that? But anyway, the gig got moved to the following week, and apparently the regular bass player for that band is able to do it. So I'm not doing it. But yeah, daytime gigs in Rotherham. How about that? But not for me, sadly. But not to worry. Not to worry. So it's just gone 2:30 here in London town, here in the UK. It's Brooks's Bass Corner, live chat 101. Hope all is good with you, wherever you are on the planet. If you've got any bass-related questions, let me know. I'm just in bass chat here. Let's just check if there's any news on there we need to know about. No, can't see anything that's particularly pressing. You may have seen, if you follow the Instagram and Facebook pages for Brooks's Bass Corner, that Rotor Sound have got a new range of pedals. I say new, they're reissues, re-released. So they used to, back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, have their own range of pedals. They then sort of were phased out, and then back in, I think, 2012 maybe, up until about 2017, 2018, those pedals re-emerged, and they're coming back out. I don't know if they're redesigned, but they're kind of revamped for modern day. Still quite sizable units. I'm not sure if the size thing will put a few people off. A lot of us like small pedals on our boards now, so you can cram more on, do more with the real estate, and a couple of these pedals will take up quite a lot of floor space on your board. But anyway, I said I'd give it all a shout out. So those pedals are going to be available from around March. Gavin Harrison got in touch last night, and I think he said that, well, sorry, it wasn't Gavin, it was someone else. Not Gavin, Gareth, sorry. Someone mentioned to me that they're probably only going to be going through Rotor Sound's distributors, or the stores that work with Rotor Sound. So if you're not at, if you don't stock Rotor Sound stuff, you're probably not going to get access to these pedals, because they're kind of being hand assembled here in the UK at Rotor Sound. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we'll get some review models here, and I'll be able to cover them, give them a good test, see how they stack up. So 7 pedals in the range. They're not actually bass pedals, they're guitar pedals, but that doesn't mean they're not applicable. Lord knows I've got plenty of pedals on my board that aren't necessarily bass pedals. So they are... Sorry, someone's just sent me an email. Richard Fitton Perkins. I'll come to that in a second. So the... I need to go back in there. The Rotor Sound pedals on offer are... Here's my press release folder. There we go. So yes, 7 pedals. Here we go. You need to pull that over there, you loon. So there will be the fuzz pedal, which is the silver looking one. There's the pusher, which is a compressor. The Crusader, which is a chorus pedal. The King Henry, which is a 4-stage phaser. The Aftermath, which is a delay pedal. The Leveler, which is an EQ pedal. And the Wobbler, tremolo pedal. Retailing between 195 and 349, depending on the unit. And they'll be available from authorized dealers worldwide from March 2025. Each pedal is made to order. Right, and limited while stocks last. Okay, so they're not around forever. So if any of these are really good, you're going to need to buy them quick because they're not going to be around for a huge amount of time. Right, Richard Fitton Perkins, thank you for your email. I was listening to your Nick Smith video. Okay, Nick and I used to meet up about 15 years ago, and in about 2009 we ambushed the Status factory. I bet they were pleased. We were both pro Status players and Status nuts, as are a lot of people here on the live chat. Thought I'd share this pic of a very happy Nick holding one of Mark King's early King bass Mark II. Excellent, great pic. Thank you. Thanks for that. Are you going to the... now there's a sight for sure eyes. And I won't say the rude Sean Connery version either. Picture of Nick in his Status sweatshirt and a bunch of basses. Oh, very nice. Yeah, very good. Are you going to the funeral, Richard? Are you going to be there? If so, I'll see you there. Bill Clements, good to see you. Yes, indeed. Hope you're well. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Stacey, playing at the services could be an interesting series for a band. Yeah, quite. I don't know how it's going to work. I mean, those service stations usually are quite noisy affairs anyway. You've got a band in there playing. You're just going to get lots of old people walking around, talking to themselves, being miserable with their fingers in their ears. Well, we'll see. But anyway, I'm not on that gig, so it's I'm stood down from it. So. But not to worry. It's all fine. Means I'm not in a titanic rush next Saturday to get back for my evening gig. And the Saturday after. So it's all fine. Richard, there you are. Good to see you. Thank you for the email. You'll be working, but I'm thinking of you all there. Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yes, well, lots of Status nuts here, Richard, so feel free to talk Status as much as you wish. Obviously, I have multiple Status basses here. Anyone who regularly tunes into the channel will know I'm a big Status fan, big Status user. Currently in the arsenal, 2 Empathies, Series 2000, T-bass, Status graphite neck on a 5-string Stingray, a Matrix. There's a King bass and a Series 2 Classic that I need to bring into the fold. I can't divulge much else than that, but anyway, there will be reviews and demos and shorts regarding those 2 basses shortly. Bill saying hello. Ian Infinity, saludos from Puerto Rico. Good to see you. Thank you for joining in. Good to see you. What's a very nice white thumb bolt on you have there, young man, in your profile picture. John Cooper just joined Heard Status Nuts. Hello, Mike and all. Good to see you. Thank you for that super chat last week, John. Very much appreciated, of course. Anyone can contribute to the channel if you wish to do so. You don't have to. Watching the videos is free. John did a super chat payment last week. If anyone wants to do one at any point, or you might be watching this video after the event, If you're watching after the event, you need to use Super Thanks, which is in the icons underneath the video window, which is a love heart with a dollar symbol. But if you're here on the live chat now, you can donate to the channel, keep the channel rolling. At the bottom of the live chat window, you've got the comment box. Next to that, you've got the emoji icon. Next to that, you've got a rectangle with a dollar symbol in. That's Super Chat. So if you wish to make a donation to the channel, you can do so by hitting that Super Chat facility. Last week, on last week's 100th live chat here on the channel, John donated £20. Thank you very much, John. Went into the kitty. Will mean loads more reviews, more workshop videos, more demos, interviews, features, all of that. So it all goes into the melting pot. It helps to pay for the software. It helps to pay for StreamYard. It helps to pay for CapCut, which is now my favorite thing for editing on. And again, that's got a £200 yearly subscription. So that's another bill coming straight out of my YouTube fund. But there we go. But it means the videos will be better. The shorts will be better. I can create a long form video, put it in the CapCut, and it just creates all the shorts for me. I haven't got to do anything other than go through, check it, check the text, check the video, check the cuts that it's done, and they go up. It's great. It's all good. It's all good. So stuff coming up. So as I said earlier, we've got, once I get this last Anaconda video out the way, hopefully tomorrow, I've got 2 Ibanez SR300 videos to do. I've got a 60-second short review to do. I've then got the review video. The demo's already up. It's been up for a while. But the review video needs to go up. I've then got the Flatley pedals, which are both here. So if Paul's watching, I doubt it. He's probably getting ready for the show next week. We've got two Flatley pedals here. Then I've got the Bass Center snake bite videos. They've got to get out. And then basically from that point, the slate is clean, although I've kind of got what I want to push out next written here on my whiteboard, so I know what's going in what order. We've got to get the Warwick Bootsy Space Bass demo and review out, and then it's help yourself, Mike. It's take your pick, get some new basses in for review and demo. We've got pedals galore to do, got feature videos to do, plenty of work. Got to crack on before we hit festival season, because then it starts to go very busy. So we will start getting the content up and out as much as I can. So it's all good. So there'll be more gig vlogs, of course. Things are a little slow on that front at the moment because there aren't a hell of a lot of gigs. And as I tried to explain on last week's live chat, when I'm doing these request shows in London, it's a bit daft for me to try and do a gig vlog on it, because literally all I'm doing is going to the tube, getting on the tube. I get in the town, I get off the tube, I walk for literally 2 minutes. I'm at the venue. It's dark. It's quite small. There's nowhere really for me to put my phone while we're playing. And literally I'm stood motionless on my bit of the stage. Most of the stage is taken up with the keyboard, the guy at the front, and the sound man and DJ. And there's nowhere. I'm looking around all the time to see if there's somewhere that I can put my flexible tripod that allows me to use the legs to grip onto fixtures and fitting. There's nothing. I can't put my phone anywhere to film anything. It's crazy. There's nothing mounted. There's nothing at the front. There's nothing on the wall where I am. I even tried to see if I could fit it on a light fitting. I couldn't do it. And I'm like, so I haven't filmed either of those 2 gigs that I've done since New Year. And now I've got one next week and the week after. And so I haven't done those. But I'll try and film something this week when I'm on the Queen show at Boystales. And I'll try and get as much as I can on the Uncle Funk shows. Got a couple of other Queen things popping up soon. So try and get all filming in as much as I can there. John Cooper, a question about your empathy. Excellent. I believe it has Sims LEDs. Yes, indeed. Did you have those retrofitted? Yes, I did. And was it a major surgery to achieve? Well, you're never there when you watch them do it. So basically, I bought that. So that red empathy is a 1998, built in March 98. The natural maple topped empathy that I bought in 2022, which is in a case over there, is a June 1998 model. So they're very close in terms of build time. So the red one was built in March 98. I didn't buy it, but it was brand spanking new until April. I can give you the date. April the 26th, 2002. Bought from Flying Pig Music in Hamwell, which sadly no longer exists. And about a week and a half later, I bought Stuart Clayton's Series 2000 off him. Stuart had already had front LEDs put into that Series 2000, but he didn't get sides done, which is daft, because back then to have sides put in as fibre optics was like an extra 130 quid. Daft not to have it done, really. And I did ask him about it. I said, why don't you get the sides done? He said, oh, I couldn't afford it at the time and I just wanted the fronts. It was like, okay, right, well, it needs sides. So I was using the Empathy and the Series 2000 on loads of pub and club gigs, wedding gigs, private functions. And if I was towards the back of a stage or on a dark stage, carbon graphite neck with no side markings. Got to be joking. It was crazy. So I decided that I was going to have the fibre optics put in the Series 2000, and the Empathy was going to have front and sides aqua was what I wanted. And I took them down to Martin at Sims in it would have been September 2002, and I had to leave them there for about a week. I think it even might have been 2 weeks. I know he had a lot of work on at the time. Everyone wanted retrofitted LEDs back then. And was it major surgery? Well, no, the way it works, I can show you, if I can get my GB, my Kingfisher, you'll see how this is all done. So I'm not giving the game away. Loads of people know, sorry, I'm talking away from the mic and you probably can't hear me. Right, I'll say again, I'm not giving the game away. So if Martin gets a bit tetchy that I've shown this, loads of people know this. So let me get rid of the banners for a minute so you can see. Right, so on my GB Roomer, Martin fitted the LEDs on here. Did a very good job, of course. It looks lovely and fabulous and all of that. Right, so he's done this on wood. So obviously on a graphite neck, it's black, but it's the same process. So basically what happens is, hopefully you can see, I'll try and get closer. You'll see on the underside here, there's a slight strip of wood. If I can get a bit closer and you can see, I don't want to bang the base. You'll see there's a strip of wood. So the neck, the back of the neck is bird's eye maple, but you'll see there's a line that's lighter. It's sycamore. Why did you use sycamore, Martin? If you're close up, it's like, but actually over time now, it's honeyed remarkably well. So it's actually worked out well in the long term, but you can see it there. So it actually works okay. For years after I got this base in 2004, that piece of sycamore was like bright yellowy white. It stood out like a sore thumb. And I remember saying to Bernie, that's a shame. But actually now, here we are in 2025, 21 years since this base was made. It doesn't look too bad. So basically what they do is they drill in and run it along. So basically there's a channel, yeah? And so there's a channel from that point underneath the fingerboard. And then what they do is they feed all the gubbins in, and obviously they can get access from the top as well. And they feed it all in, and then on the other side, from this side, they put fibre optics in. So what I've got here are fibre optics. And then when Bernie was building this base, I said, Bern, if I'm not going to use LEDs on any given gig, I need those position markers to be big and black so I can see them. So he put Letraset circles over the top and then used like a scalpel to take away the midsection so the LED optic fibre optic shone through. And that's it. So the fibre optics take their light from the LED here on the fingerboard. So I've only had one set of LEDs fitted and the fibre optics. For people that have two sets of LEDs, so one on the front, one on the side, it's double the price, twice the work. But that means then you can pick between which set you're having on, which set you're having off. So lots of people used to get front and sides and then go, oh, I don't want the fronts on, I just want the sides. Why do you have the fronts put in then? And on a couple of my bases, so that would have been from about like 2006 onwards, I only opted for sides, didn't want the fronts. But it's fine. You know, those are for the punters and the sides are for us. Oh, let's see. Yeah, if I turn that light off, you'll get it. Yeah, so it's front. There's the side. And that's how it works. Headstock as well, of course. So that was it. So yes, your question, John. It's not a big job for Sims. It's what they do. The only problem you've got is now the price is extremely high. It never used to be as expensive as this. I think my red empathy, all in, fronts and sides, came to about 550 quid, I think, at that time. Now I think it's close to 700. Might not have even been that much. I could tell you if I went into my accounts. And while that base was being done, I had the fibre optics done on the 2000, and that was only about 130 quid, I think. Wasn't a big job. So all in, I could tell you, I mean, if you want me to, hold on, I'll tell you what the bill was. If my copy of, if my accounts file will open up, because it's old now. It might not. Having said that, it might. Hold on. Let's have a look. It's an old file. 2002, 2003. It's on a different drive, isn't it? We're talking old school here. I've plugged that in. Sorry, that drive's not recognising at the moment. Bear me a moment. We'll see. There we go. That drive's firing up. I keep my old accounts on a drive with all my financial stuff separately. There we go, that's better. Right, that one. 2002, 2003. Ooh, it's open, very good. Right, a cash account. It might be in there. Get there. Different account, Mike. Sorry about this. It's not particularly riveting live chat, but if you want an idea of what the prices were back then, I can tell you because I paid for it. September 2002. Where are we? Here we go. All in. Haha, I was right. So the Empathy had fronts and optics, and this 2000 had optics. All in, whole price, 550 quid. You couldn't even get fronts and sides done for that now. There you go. So yeah, things have definitely changed somewhat. So yeah, it's oh, hello, we got some idiot. So yeah, there we go. Richard, have I reviewed the Court Space Base yet, Mike? No, not yet. Haven't had one. I'm actually gonna this week get in touch with a load of the companies I used to do reviews and stuff for at the magazine. So hopefully, fingers crossed, might get a load of new review stuff through. Use one as your backup and as a teaching base. And how do you find it, Rich? It's if I can call you Rich. Your King Base Mark II 5-string has the wraparound green LEDs. Very useful. Yeah, they're good. I've got a Streamline here. Forgot to mention that in the status collection. Unfortunately, the guy who not before me, the one before him, when he spec'd the base, he didn't go for particularly bright LEDs. So even with a new set of batteries in, they're all right, but they're no match for the ultra blues on the GB. Right, we've got a bloke here. Oh, okay, that's good. You carry on, mate. See, yes, he's gone. Don't worry about that. I don't put up with that nonsense. So he's gone. Never to grace the channel again. And we actually, I put a couple of videos up last weekend. You might have seen the 5 nuggets of advice, and I did some shorts off it and got some fairly disparaging comments from idiots. And I thought about it, and I thought, all right, let's see what their channels are. They haven't got channels. They've literally got one subscriber, which is probably their mum, because they spend their time sat in their pants eating a cold pot noodle and flat Pepsi. And that's all they do all day, is just go around trashing other people's content. And but it's fine. You keep doing that. I'll keep taking the money, because when you're watching these idiots, not to you fine people who come on the channel, you watch my videos and you comment, I earn the money. So you carry on slating the channel as much as you like. Works for me. It works for me. That's the way you got to flip it. So they might be negative, but then you go and look at what they're doing. I mean, one guy was a bass player and he put up a load of videos of his bass playing. He was quite shockingly bad. And I thought, right, you're going to sit there and have a go at me, and you've put that stuff up. Feel free, George. Feel free. James Howard, good to see you. Welcome. Welcome along. Bill Derbyshire, good afternoon. What's my opinion of the Status Vintage GP bass? Fabulous. Played a few of them when they first came out. Yeah, really good. Really good. A nice stepping stone between old and new. Really nice basses. Nice sound. Play good. The neck helps. Just keep the thing ticking over. Good. Really good. Are you buying one, Bill, or have you already got one? I think you've already got one, haven't you? Is that why you're asking my opinion? I don't know. But they are very good. Can't go wrong with one of those. Retrofitted. Nice instruments, Bill. The GP is a little bit like the T-Bass. I have one of the originals here. If anyone wants to see that. So, anyone who knows their T-Bass, Richard, you're going to know all about this. So, if you've watched the channel, you'll know this is here. But this is one of the original 15s. I'll get to the end of the messages here. John Cooper, quote is $540 for 12 side LEDs fitted. So that's along the side of the fingerboard, nothing on the fronts. There you go. It shows you how times have changed and things have gone up in price. So for $540, add on a tenner, and I got fronts, side optics, and side optics again. So, okay, it's 23 years ago. I get it. But yeah, it shows you, doesn't it? So let me just take these banners down so you can see. There we go. So, yeah, this will probably interest you, Richard, and probably a few others. So this is a T-Bass. This is one of the originals from 1995. I'll try and get the headstock so you can see what's on it. So basically designed by Mark Gooday at Ashdown when he was still at Trace Elliot, and built by Status with lots of input from Mark and the Trace team. So this, if I show you the back, that's the bit you want. Strictly limited custom edition, serial number 4-1991. Each of the 15 4-strings and 15 5-strings had a different year. So this is model 11, I guess, of the 4s. One for each year, a 4 and a 5 for each year that's Trace had been around. Featured in the reviews in Basis magazine in September it was, 95. Never thought I'd own one of these. I bought this actually in 2002, before I even bought my first Status. And at the time, I had one of the production T-basses in Seafoam Green. And I wanted one with a maple neck. And I thought that's what this was, what I was going to buy. The guy advertised it in Loot. It's a green T-bass. I thought, great, Seafoam Green. And maple neck. Well, yeah, it's a maple neck, but it ain't a maple fingerboard. And that's what I wanted, because my other T-bass had rosewood. And when I went along to meet the guy, I said, what are you selling the bass for? He said, oh, I'm after some LEDs for my Warwick. And he had all these thumb rings and things, and he'd completely bitten up the neck, and there's a fag burn in the headstock. He'd taken a black pen to the headstock and drawn a line. Let's see if you can see it. You might not be able to see it. Oh, you might. Hold on. Probably easier if I just do it face on. So he's taken a black marker and drawn a line. And the cigarette burn is there. And the neck was all bitten up, and I had it redone by Rob at Status. The brass plates that the bridge monorail saddles sit on, they were all cracked. They had to be replaced. One of the pickups had gone microphonic. So it had a bit of a life, and it was only 7 years old. But anyway, I knew what I was looking at. It is one of the original. I had someone go, oh, it's not one of the originals. You haven't got the tortoiseshell plate. I'll explain. On the back, that's the tortoiseshell plate. And there was one of those as the scratch plate. But as you'll see, it buckles over time. And the scratch plate had done exactly that. It had started lifting all around. 7-year-old scratch plate. Crazy. Anyway, it's in a secure envelope down there. And I had that sort of white, black, ice perloid plate done. I quite like it like that. See, as you can see, all the wounds and scars. It's got dings all over it. I mean, virtually all of these were on it before I got it. But it plays great. Sounds amazing. Used it for loads of gigs while I was waiting for my GB to be built. Just bear me a moment. Just going to make a note of that idiot that came on. So I'll be checking his channel out shortly. Giving him a load of grief. Nice. If you can do it to me, I'll do it to you. Don't worry about that. Right, let's have a look here. GP was semi-hollow, yeah, on one side below the F-hole, yep. Bill Derbyshire, Richard, I've never tried the T-bass, but I have Status Vintage GP. It's one of my go-to basses. There we are. So you know all about them, Bill. It's great to play. Nice neck. Just lots about it is good. They got that one right. Your King Bass Mark II 5-string has the wraparound green LEDs. Okay. Got it. Yeah, like I say, my streamer, it's over there, it's got wraparound blues. And the guy who originally placed the order, it's a very custom order, 32-inch scale, satin, neck and back, I think. Or was it just the neck? It's really dinky to play. It's an odd thing. And the wraparounds are just not very bright. They are what they are. Lovely bass. I bought it for doing gigs abroad, but I haven't done that many since I bought it. I had a trip to Nice, which actually was the reason I bought it. And I was going to use it on my regular trips to the Middle East that I was doing at the time, but I didn't get any more of those. I didn't know that was going to be the case. And then I did a trip in 2018 to Berlin, where we had an early flight on BA, and they wouldn't let us take the bass on board, even though it was in a very small, like, guitar, but not even a guitar shape, just like a rectangle. Wouldn't let us take it on. After Ed Sheeran had some blowout with BA over an instrument, they wouldn't let any instruments onto planes. And I was forced to pack it in cardboard boxes in a gig bag. And so now if I do stuff abroad, I'm going to take a bass. It'll be my Ibanez ATK, which is, I bought that to stop taking nice basses abroad. The Ibanez cost me £3. If it got destroyed on a flight, it'd be sad, but it's not going to destroy me. Whereas if one of my statuses got wiped out, I'd be very upset. But right, John, do you gig with all your basses? Yes. Or are there some in your amazing collection which are not allowed out? No, anything can go out. I'm a working bass player. Obviously, now, over time, some things have become a little bit more collectible, like the Kabikis here and the statuses. Now they're semi-retired. Lembics, of course. But no, anything can come out. Anything can be resprayed. Anything can be repaired if it comes to it. But as I'm getting older, it's like, well, these things are here to be enjoyed and to be used. And if I'm buying to sell, then those things might as well just stay in their case, and I'll feature them on videos here on the channel maybe. But no, I'm not averse to taking anything out. I have certain rules for some of them. So like the Alembics don't come out unless I'm playing either somewhere I know and I've played already, and I know what size the stage is, so I know how much room I'm going to have. If someone says, oh, we're playing at Butlins, then the Alembics are a shoo-in, because I know I've got a huge stage, great monitors, although I'm on in-ears anyway now. And the first couple of times I took Alembics to Butlins with great sound system, great monitoring, it was a revelation. And I heard it at soundcheck and it was like, that's what they're meant to sound like, not the sound you get in a pub when you stood in front of your combo or whatever. And I remember the sound man, the first time I took one of the Alembics out, and the sound man at that gig went, oh my God. He said, I've never heard a bass sound like that. And it's like, that's what they're meant to sound like. Unfortunately, unless you're recording or you've got proper sound system, proper monitoring, bands all mixed and what have you, you're never going to hear the benefits of what an Alembic can bring to the party. But when you do, it's like, that is what you pay the money for. That's why they're revered. That's why they have, you know, reputation. But everything comes out. I'm not, you know, part of me thinks, well, you shouldn't take your white Kabiki out. And it's like, I want to use it. Nothing else is going to sound like that. I haven't used a Kabiki on a gig for a long time, because I just found when I bought the white one, I'd had the pink one since 91, but when I bought the white one in 2001, the band that I was playing with at that time, we were tuned to semitone down. And because the X factors are 32-inch scale, so you're medium scale already, you then tune the strings down a bit, they become exceptionally baggy. And even though it sounded great and played great, I just felt the bagginess in the strings. I was like, I don't want to do this. And I could also see in that band that that bass was going to get banged and dinged. And it already came to me with a little bit of a ding. I'll show you. Came with a little bit of a ding on the top edge. And but I mean, it's in exceptional condition for a 37-year-old bass. But and some people go, oh, it's immaculate. But anyway, it came with this. Where are we? So there's one little ding there on the top, and we've got this. So you can't really see it until it... There we go. So it came with that already. And there's a little one there. Like a little chip thing. And I try, you know, I try my best to look after all these things. And people might say, oh, we'll put them in their cases and put them away. It's like, yeah, but they're mine. and I want to use them, and I use them on videos, and I don't have problems taking them out to gigs, but I will assess what gig I'm taking them to. I use I always look at what I'm doing, where I'm going, and am I driving or am I on the tube? Is anyone else going to be touching these bases, or is it just me? Are there going to be stage hands who are going to be causing a problem? All those sort of things. So I weigh it all up. I weigh it all up. What we got here? So there's a message in. Bear with me a moment. No, someone messaged, I think. It says there's a new. What is that? Oh, right. Pete Degan, Nearland, just replying to the email that he sent me this morning. Good, cool. You go for it, Pete. If you're watching, you go for that video. Do your thing. Right, there we are. We're back on there. So, just need to shrink that a bit. There we go. And I can see everyone's messages. Excellent. So, yeah, that's generally it, John. I don't, I'm not, unless I buy something. If I saw something come up and I thought, well, actually, one did come up, an Alembic Persuader with P&J pickups, natural maple in York. I think the guy's still got it, and it's like $3,000. But he's got another one that's all bashed up, and he uses it for his gigs. He said, I don't want to bash the immaculate one up. Now, if I bought that, chances are I'm not going to be taking it out on gigs. I'd be buying it as an investment piece. So I probably wouldn't take it out. And because I've got a Persuader here already with humbuckers, which I'm very happy with, that has a few dings on it. It's probably going to get a few more. If it needed relacquering, I can probably get it done here in the UK, or worst come to worst, I send it back to the mothership, let them give it an overhaul, and it's a 1990, for God's sake, it's done 35 years. So I don't sort of worry about it too much. When I bought the Empathy, within 6 weeks of me buying that, I was on a gig. I've said this before on live chats. I was on a gig at a place called The Keys on Holloway Road, and we just finished. We were unplugging stuff, and I pulled the plug for my plug board, not pedal board, plug board that provides all the power, out the wall, and I dropped the plug, and the plug bounced off the slate stone floor and hit my Empathy slap bang in the contour on the top of the body, and it just went bang, and I was like, I can't believe it. I only had this bass 6 weeks. I was mortified. Here we are 23 years on. I don't even think about it. The Empathy has taken bangs and dings all over the shop. It's all part of the battle scars, It's my most played bass out of everything I've got. It's the one I've played the most. So you can be picky about it. If you buy something and you're going to be that worried about it, don't buy it unless you're buying it for investment. There's no point having it otherwise. If it's investment purposes, then you're not going to be taking it out anyway. I don't buy stuff for recording anymore. I used to, the excuse for assembling the collection in the beginning was, I might get called for a session, or I might need this, or I've done so little recording over my career. That's not even an excuse anymore. It's a bit of a poor joke. But I have bought loads of things for gigs, specific bands, certain purposes, like buying the ATK. As much as I loved Ibanez's ATKs anyway, I'd always wanted to buy one. And then when my Empathy went walkabout for like the 10th time after trips to the Middle East, it was like, I'm not bringing that anymore. And I was looking round, probably was going to buy a passive cheap jazz, use a John East circuit, or I'd actually spoken to John about having one of his circuits and a pedal. And then that ATK came up on Amazon, very cheap, bought it, and here we are. And it's a great bass. When I was practicing the Decades of Dance stuff, that was the main bass I was using, that and the Stingray. They sound so similar, but actually the ATK does a great jazz impression as well. So I got my money's worth on that one. Richard, agreed, Mike. A bass that isn't earning its keep has to go. Don't tell my other half that. There's 40 basses here. I can't. They all earn their money one way or another. They all get used for something. I've said once I hit kind of 60, if I get to 65, I'll start thinning the herd out, and we'll start cashing in what's here. But they're all going to get used on YouTube videos. You know, a lot of this, some of these things were bought or came into use when I was doing all the work for the mag. And I said this a few weeks ago, was that it's very good that if we got a base come in for review and I had older models, that I can compare and contrast. So when the new Stingrays came out in 2006, 2007, they started coming out with the anniversary models and then the dual pickup thing. I could compare them to older models that I had here in the collection. All these things that they've paid their dues one way or another. Bill Derbyshire, yes, I've got one. Just wanted your view. Yeah, those vintage GP status is great bases. I didn't buy one. I didn't have a need for one. I was always, when I was putting my status collection together, I really wanted an empathy. And I really wanted either a Series 2 or a Series 2000. And then as time went on and you do things and you do gigs, and I was always a fan of the original Matrix with the P&J. And then when I went back and listened to a bunch of Level 42 recordings from that Guaranteed tour, when Mark used a Matrix, I'd forgotten how good that sounded in the mix. And I'd seen them come up and go, oh, I'll get round to it one day. And I thought, you need to buy one of these, because at some point they might not be around for you to get one. And one came up in St Albans. It's a little bit battle hardened. It's got a few dings here and there. It plays great, sounds great. And so I went and bought it. It wasn't a particularly high price. Thank God I did, because trying to get one of them now, you're going to be looking at in excess of about 1,500 quid. But there we are. Richard, I was once up to 19 bases, but thankfully now down to 5. Clever chat. See, Nick, I mean, God rest his soul, I think at one point he had something like 120, 125. And I think he would have carried on letting it grow. But I think he had to liquidate parts of that collection at several points. But, yeah. I mean, there's that classic photo, of course, with him sat with all the bases around him. And I think probably a year or two before that, it was even bigger than that. It was huge, his collection. I've never seen... Well, there's the guy that was featured on various YouTube videos a year or two ago, German guy. And he's just got, I think, is it 1,000, 500,000, something like that. Crazy. But if you've got the money and that's your passion, go for it. I wouldn't want to see the insurance bill. And also, the thing, you know, like with any active instrument, it's fine with passive because you haven't got batteries, but a lot of the active instruments, components are starting to go on the circuit boards, Arias especially. All these bases that came out in the 70s and 80s, those components are 40 years old plus, and they're dying out. Trying to get replacements is tricky. I think there's going to be there'll be a leveling out in the vintage instrument market for active instruments from the 70s and 80s at some point, because as desirable as they are, if you're going to replace circuitry, then it's not original condition. And trying to get replacements, I said the other week, I think it might have been last week, we were talking about the Aria. So I've got a Suit SB1000 here. And I had several of Carl Maltby's replacement circuits. And my bass blew them up. Literally attached them and fried them. I don't know what is going on with the bass I've got. But the circuit that it came with when I bought it is okay. But I wanted to get one of the new circuits in and sort of future-proof it. And it fried them. And I've said to Carl, if I ever come over to Finland and gig, I'll bring that bass with me and he can check it out and tell me what's going on and we'll get it all sorted out. John Wickin, good to see you. 2 weeks on the trot. Thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, Brooksy, hope all is well. All is well. All is not too bad. I have a Carvin Icon 5. Very nice. I reviewed one of those for Bass Guitar Magazine in, now we're talking, 2013, 2014. You had it made in 2013. There we go. Keep hearing on forums negative things about the pickups, but mine sound good still. How close to MTDs are these? Well, I've always had a high regard for Carvin basses. The basses they had out around that time, which I think their jazz basses, which were the SB. Let me just look up my review. A friend of mine had one, and it was amazing. But I reviewed one at Bass Gear in Twyford. Let me just... There we go, that drive. Too many drives going on here. Bass Guitar Magazine. Reviews. Carvin. SB 5000 I played, the 5-string, which was a jazz. I was blown away by it. It was amazing. One of the first basses I had experience of as a Carvin, my cousin bought a bass back in 1991. It was a real rock bass with the old angled headstock. Turquoise blue, quilted maple. It had a built-in phaser, which was the weirdest thing, but it worked. It was a real rock machine. Amazing. And it didn't cost very much. So I've always had a high regard for Carvin stuff. I know Carvin is now Kiesel. I don't know why you're hearing negative things. Do you know what? A lot of this stuff is just snobbery, and it's been going on for years, and bass forums and websites and what have you just fuel that snobbery. I will always say, I've said it on millions of videos, said it in millions of live chats, reviews, whatever. Use your ears. If something sounds good to you and it plays well and feels good, go with it. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. Too many people buy gear and then go on social media and seek, I'm not saying this is you, John, at all, seek justification for what they've just bought. There was a guy on Facebook this morning while I was walking the dog. I was just scrolling through, and one of the bass groups I'm on, a guy said, oh, I've just bought a bass and had it commissioned and and I forgot, but I'm already thinking of my next bass. Is that bad? Why are you even posting that? Who gives a toss? You know, you're just looking for attention. Stop that. Stop that. If you've just bought a bass, go and play it. And if you are thinking of your next bass, I'm very happy for you. But why are you posting about that? What? Go and play. Go and practice. Go and find some music to listen. What are you posting on social media about that for? Totally irrelevant. Complete crap. Pardon my French. So, yeah, if you read negative things about a bass you've got or the pickups or whatever, disregard it. Don't worry about it. If it sounds good to you and you're using it on gigs and you're getting good reactions, band likes it, fits in the band mix, just go for it. Life is too short to worry about this. It's, as I've said before, people that fanny about with string spacing. Well, it's not 16 mil, I can't play it. Just play the bloody bass. If you had to do a gig and someone said, oh, your bass is gone, you need to play it, you just get on and play it. If Led Zeppelin came calling and they're reforming and they needed you to play bass, but you can't have your 16 millimeter string spacing, you've got to have 18, you're going to turn that gig down? Of course you're not. Rubbish. People make far too much of this. It's nonsense. You know, okay, you might have your preference. Sometimes we get people on here on the live chat and they'll say, how'd you get on with your 5-string Stingray with that slim string spacing? I just play it. I just get on and I do it. I don't worry about it. Loads of my basses got different string spacings, different string lengths, different brands of strings. Some have got flat wound, some have got half wound, some have got pressure wound, some are phosphor bronze. I've got nickels, I've got steels, I've got monol flat wounds. Just get on and do it, you know. People going down, well, if you don't buy a battery with this tolerance and this milliamps, and then shut up. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. People are always looking for an excuse to explain why something isn't the way it is. People always look for a hardware excuse as to why they don't play very well. Just practice. Get out and play. Use your gear. Push yourself forward. You know, I've seen people have like mental collapses trying to work out where they're going to have a graphite nut or a bone nut or a plastic nut. And then it doesn't matter, really. It just doesn't matter at all. So if it sounds good to you, John, go for it. How close are these to MTDs? Don't know. I mean, I've played great MTDs and I've played not so great MTDs. I've played some cheap MTDs that weren't made in the US factory, but in the Indonesian, Korean, and all of that. Some of them are good, some of them are rubbish. There was one I reviewed, Bass Direct, when I did a review day. Let me just pull that up. It's one of the finest basses I've ever played. It was an MTD. Was it that? Hang on, I need to go to the published folder so I can see the pictures. As soon as I see the pictures, I'll know. It was Scroll. There we go. It was the... Nope, not that one. It wasn't a Saratoga, although those were quite good basses. It was a Kingston Super 5, I think. Yeah, Kingston Super 5 that had two humbuckers wedged together. Amazing. At the time, I think it was about 900 quid. Right, zoom in on that, Michael John. So, 900 quid, made in China. 35-inch scale. Ash body with a flame maple top. Bolt-on neck. 44mm nut width. 24 frets. NTD Bartolini humbuckers. 3-band EQ. Had various 3-way selector switches for each pickup for hum cancelling series, single coil, parallel modes. 4.3 kilograms. Amazing bass. I gave it, what did I give it? 9 out of 10 for build quality, 9 out of 10 for sound quality, 10 out of 10 for value. Well, what did I say? Oh, what did you say? I don't know. Plus points. A stunning bass at a stunning price. Fully featured, comfortable, highly playable. In the minus column, no negatives, no negative points. Overall, big thumbs up from us for a very deserving instrument. Loved it. If I had to get rid of all my basses and buy one bass, that would have been a contender. Now, I don't know what they go for, probably 1,200, 1,300 quid. It was outstanding. Loved it. So, the Icon, let's just have a look at that. Let's see what I gave that. Carvin Icon. I remember I deliberated over the review for some time because I wanted to get it right. Very nice bass. Let's see what I said. What did you say, Mike? It's been a while. 2,183 quid. It was a teeth in. Dark cherry sunset burst. Alder body with a spalted maple top, maple neck, bird's eye maple fingerboard, 2 Carvin SP2 soap bar pickups, 18-volt active passive 3-band EQ. Yeah, through neck, 44mm nut width, 34-inch scale length. I said, what did I say? Well, ratings-wise, I gave it 9 out of 10 for build quality, 8 out of 10 for sound quality, 8 out of 10 for value. And the plus column, a great looking and sounding bass that has a lot to offer, very playable, comfortable and versatile. We can't see any player being disappointed with their purchase. In the minus column, some 5-string players might want to extend that scale length to 35 inches, which is possible as a custom order. So overall, everything a bass at this price should be: flexible, desirable, and generally top-notch. So yeah, I can read you out the conclusions if you want to hear that. After some time spent playing this bass, it became clear that this is an instrument with a lot to offer, but in order to make the most of its assets, the player really needs to use each control and understand how that control works in relation to the others. That's not to say that you couldn't pick the bass up and coax a great tone from it straight away. Without a doubt you can, but the circuit and pickups have a lot to offer. Throwing the low B into the equation as well means that this is a bass with a lot of tonal options and possibilities on tap. With all of this on offer, its price point is understandable. You're getting an impressive instrument for your money. Whether it stands head and shoulders above similar instruments at this sort of price is debatable, but whether the Carvin name is enough to draw players towards the Icon needs to be seen. At that point, Carvin were making inroads via Bass Gear here in the UK and their UK distributor to suddenly have some prominence, visibility. They were everywhere for a while. Visually it's a class act, and in terms of comfort and playability, it's certainly up there with similar 5-string examples in this price bracket. I'd say it's fairly positive. So without having both basses like that and a Carvin together, it's hard to tell. But if you're happy with it and it does what you need it to do, I wouldn't worry. And don't listen to people on forums. It's guff. It's guff. Make your own mind up. I've always said take every bass on its merits. You can have 10 examples of the same bass from the same range, and most of them aren't going to sound the same or play the same. Which is why reviews generally, and I'll say this even though I do them, reviews are only valid for the instrument that was reviewed. Doesn't necessarily mean, which is why you can read a great review of something and go and pick one up in a shop and it's dreadful and you go, what was the guy thinking? That wasn't any good. But then again, you can think something's bad, go into a shop or order one, another example, and it plays great. Every instrument on its own merits. Do not think you know how something's going to play and sound just by looking at it. We've got a pink bass man. He's coming in. I'll bring you to stage shortly. Just got 2 questions to answer. Richard, I only buy basses which I love the feel of and the sound of. Correct. I don't need compliments from everyone else. Correct. Agreed. Have a great day. Are you off, Richard? No problem. Great to see you. Thank you for joining in. Right, we've got a pink bass man stuffing his face after he's been on the gym. I need to bring a joint screen. There we go. And you're live, as far as I'm aware. I need to put some headphones on so I can hear what you're saying. How are we? Ah, yes, eating. Excellent. You won't get him this quiet for the rest of the weekend, folks. This is about as good as it's going to get. We can't hear you. Your mic is muted.
No, it's not.
Better. There we are. Well, I saw it go muted as you pressed it. We could hear the background. We couldn't hear the background noise before, you see. Anyway, how are we doing?
We're good. How are you?
Yeah, rocking and rolling. Have you been to the gym, have you?
Just finished. The old joke about sweat off me, bro.
Ah, very good. Gigging this weekend?
Tomorrow, yeah, I'll be in the morning office.
Have you got the 4 sessions again?
This time
Just the 2. Excellent.
Play the same place every time.
Got it.
So what?
Busy week? Sorry, your sound is dropping in and out.
How about this weekend, eh?
I've got no gigs until Thursday. I've got a Queen show at Boysedale's in Canary Wharf, which is Jules Holland's, or one of Jules Holland's venues, and then got the Request show in central London on Saturday. That's it for next weekend. But we got the bass show. Well, I say the bass show, the guitar and very small the bass show next Sunday. But I haven't decided if I'm going yet. Got to wait and see how life pans out.
Right.
So yeah, and the small matter of Mr. Smith's goodbye on Tuesday.
Yeah, small matter.
Yeah. I don't know if they're streaming it. Have you heard? Because I've not seen any mention of a link.
So his sweet sister said that she's going to be providing. So if she sends one along, I'll make sure you have it.
Very good, and then I'll pump it out. Okay.
Right.
Okie dokes. Very good. News on the JD front. What's
Well, I was kind of thinking that Joe Goose was going to purchase the white pearly one. I don't know. Maybe I'm just throwing sand. I don't know.
Well, he hasn't appeared yet, so we can't ask him directly. But is that still there? I thought they'd all gone.
Well, a friend of mine was going to swap for some kind of old Stingray, I think it was, and he changed his mind. So unless somebody else has nicked it, I don't know.
Yeah.
So
okay,
yeah,
I know it's not on their website. But I'm wondering if they kept them off. I know that there were a couple on there before they claimed they'd sold them all.
Right.
But I've not seen one go back on. So unless Will is holding it, I don't know.
One never knows.
They get so much stuff in and out of there that it's hard to keep up.
I have a
lot
treat
of the good stuff. Oh, okay. What's that then?
At the end of March, towards my birthday, there is an annual guitar show that takes place right here, not too far from me. So if the timing is right for chat or what have you, we can go explore the guitar show together.
Yeah, we could.
We could look at
Absolutely.
all the funky fenders and all the Rickies and everything else because they
Yeah, yeah.
all bust out for that.
Okay. Well, make sure you're, well, you won't know until you're there, but you'll need to find out how good the online connection is.
I shall.
Because those things, usually you think, oh, they'll have great Wi Fi. And then you get in there and there's no mobile reception at all. And the Wi
Right,
Fi
right.
can be, sometimes it will be only good in there, but it won't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you
So
can
that
assess that once you're there. So,
I indeed I shall because usually they bring out quite a selection of oddball things.
yeah,
So
I bet.
should be
I
good
got a little
for.
question for you. Have you?
Go on.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, have you bumped into Billy Sheehan on your travels in Nashville?
He doesn't live but 15 minutes from me.
Excellent. So I'll repeat the question. Have you bumped into him?
Oh yes, a lot. And we actually go have curry together.
No. Okay, right. Well, when he's back, because I know he's on the last stint of the 2 Japan gigs, can
Right.
you remind him? Because I've emailed him several times and he responds more when I message him on Facebook, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
never actually convinced. When he sees me on camera or in person, he's great, but I
Mm-hmm.
never think he actually correlates my face with my name.
Mm.
So we were meant to do an interview at the end of August
Mm-hmm.
after they finished the run of the tour.
Mm-hmm.
And then they announced these final shows in Japan, and obviously they bolted on a couple for India.
Right.
And I sent him an email to say, look, seeing as now the tour ain't finished, you've still got these bookends to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk after that. And he didn't reply, nothing. And I sent the message again and still got no reply. And it's like, and he always says, send me email, send me email.
Right.
Clearly he's too busy responding to that. He then posted up when they were in India, and I said, look, have a great time, interview in March. And he replied back, yes, absolutely. But again, I don't think he correlates my Brooks's Base Corner Facebook ID with it being me. Yet if he sees me, he's like, oh, great, yeah, absolutely. So if you see him, just say, I know Mike. Can you just reply to that email? And I
I can.
said to him, if you want
Right.
to do it in March, once you've back and you've had like 2-3 weeks to decompress. I mean, this is a big life event that they're going through.
It is.
I just want to wrap. He and I haven't done an interview since 2021,
Mm.
which is weird because for a period we did one like at least once or twice a year from 2014 up till 2018, 2019 even. So I just want to wrap the Mr. Big episode of his life into an interview, really. And
Sounds good to me.
yeah, because when we did the last interview, it was just as they were doing the 30th anniversary. For Christ,
Okay.
the 30th anniversary of Lean Into It, and he was giving me stuff in the interview because he knows I'm going to research and do. He was telling me stuff I had absolutely no idea. That's things that had never appeared in interview before. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, "Are you all right mentioning all this?" And he was like, "Absolutely, yeah." He said, "But you got to remember when we're promoting an album and a tour at the time."
Mm-hmm.
We generally repeat the same. I know this is the case. I had it with John Taylor. We just repeat the same thing. We
Right.
might do 10 interviews for 10 different magazines, but basically the same questions come up and you give them the same answer.
Right.
He said, but here we are 30 years later. We're not selling the album. We're not selling the tour. So I can tell you all this stuff. This is how it went down. This is so as I'm interviewing him, I'm already sort of moderating my questions and changing things because he's telling me things that suddenly make certain questions irrelevant, but it opens up a whole nother area of discussion.
Right.
So yeah, so that's the idea is that we do an encompassing Mr. Big is over interview. So
Okay.
I didn't know you went for curry together. How about that?
Well, you remember one of the last pictures he posted from India was a curry on a plate.
Yes.
I got that picture about an hour and a half before everybody else with a text message that says, "I thought of you when I had them make this."
Quite right.
So, yeah. So Naturally, he said, this is what he said to me. He said they don't make a vindaloo here. But the chef trying to put this together. It's close, but no cigar.
Yeah,
Right. Okay. Well, then that means that when you return, when you are well rested, then I'm going to take you to the spot,
there we go.
and that will be the
Quite right
story.
too. Yeah,
Yes,
that's it.
indeed. Hmm.
Good stuff. Well, that's good. That's handy. So if ever I send him stuff now and I can't get a response, I'll just get you to give him a nudge
I'll do my best,
in the nicest way.
of course.
There we are.
Indeed.
So what else is going on?
Well, let's see. Um, okay, so for the latest, let me say it like this. There's two albums coming out. I haven't told
Hmm.
many folks this yet, but there's a new Applehead record that is in process, and
Right.
I just did the last bass line for the album, which ought to be smashing, haha, when it comes out.
Smashed apple.
Oh yeah, smashed apple, right? Be good for a pudding or a pie. Anyway,
Yeah.
so and then we're waiting on some odds and ends or odds and bobs, if you like,
Hmm.
because we're looking at the label has asked us to do something with the original record. So there's no real details out there because so
Of course.
it's coming. It's going to be interesting. Different than it was prior. In the first release, the label actually sold out of our record.
Good.
So between the
That's
vinyl,
positive.
oh, indeed, the vinyl and the CDs, they have nothing. And we have a secret stash that we take with us, gigs and shows and whatnot. We have it set up on a table. So this is coming.
Okay.
So this is next. And I'm booking dates for us. I've got a date for us that got committed to on March the 25th, which ought to be a blast because it's the day before my birthday. And
Hmm. Your
so,
sound is cutting in and out, just so you know.
okay, let me fix that. Turn this off. Move the lemming and the
Drive carefully.
fox is riding along. Yes.
Yes, that's better.
Yeah. All right. Good deal. Yeah, because there was an air vent was pointing at the phone. So yeah,
That'll be it.
yeah. So yeah, the third week of March is going to be dash because I'll have the guitar show up front, and then I've got a gig, and then my birthday the day after the gig. So
Cool.
should be fun. Yeah,
Busy,
couple
busy, busy.
right in between now and then. It should continue on. I've got about 6 songs in the queue that I've got to record for people all around the
Great.
place. Yeah. So
Good.
yep, and there is a secret film. I don't mean a film. There's a film. It's not one of those kind. Wink, wink,
No,
nudge, say no more. Um,
not at your age. Could be dangerous.
we're not doing no naughty bits in this one. No, this is there's a film coming out that I've contributed music to, as well as playing bass for soundtrack stuff.
Okay.
And Applehead is actually licensing a song for the film as well.
Oh, great.
That'll be one that we have to work up for the live set because again, people are going to hear it. So
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
that's
Oh,
about
it's
that's
good.
yeah, it's
It's
fun
all
stuff.
good. All positive.
Yeah, yeah, it's good
That's
stuff. I
excellent.
mean, we have to
Do you like
counteract.
my T-shirt today? By the
I
way,
didn't see
I
it.
need to
Show
get
me.
rid. No, no.
Let's have a look. Oh, pinky shirt. Look at you.
It's the Rotor Sound shirt. It's a pink one. You see, you
Oh,
need to
good.
get one of them.
I've spoken
It's
with Jason Howe a few times. They made a string. We're going to go from shirt to string. Um, he made a string called the Roto string. Do you
yeah,
remember?
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. They're the
Okay,
cheaper ones. They're nickel plated on a steel core.
right. And they're 30 to 90. And I
Hmm.
can't here. I used to get them by special order. So I've been speaking with his importer, I guess, or his distributor here, trying to get my
Right.
hands on those. If I could keep a successful supply of those, then I could wear a Roto shirt as well.
Well, I'm just having a look for you. I think the Rotos at 3090s have gone. I think they were replaced with the 3595s. Just bear me a minute.
Right.
So, because I've got, yeah, you can't get 3090s in Rotos. You can only have 3090s as Funk Masters, and as you know, they're like 25, 26 pound a set. So let me just right, strings. Let's go to rotos.
Yeah, that's just a few bulb. Yes.
Just bear me a minute.
Oh yeah.
There we go. Roto nickel round ones. There we go. Right, roto. Their website's slow today. Yeah, you can't have 3090s on rotos. You can only have 3595s in the green pack. I actually bought a ton of those. Not that I generally use that gauge, but they were so cheap from PMT about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing a huge Rotosound sale, and I think I bought a load of them. I bought some 40 to 95s, and then there were some other funky gauges and what have you. And they were like less than, I think they were like £10.50 a set. And I bought like 20 odd sets. So, yeah, so Rotos, it's 35.95s is the starting gauge.
Right. There was a shop that used to carry. They had a wall of you could pick your gauge and you could pick your type. Anything roto sound. I haven't been there for a while, but I don't think they have the wall anymore. And that's where I found the roto, the nickel ones. I literally purchased every package I could at the time. And, you know,
I think what they've tried to do is trying to keep the Funkmaster 3090 sets as a premium product.
Right.
So here in the UK, if you want 4000s or 4595s, which is their 4505, which is their two biggest selling products, there's a premium on those. You never see them on discount on the online retailers. So if you want 4000s in nickel, I pick them up at £11.50 off Amazon. If you want 4000s in steel, it's 25 quid. Unless you're on an artist discount. But as I've said before on the live chats, it's cheaper for me now to buy my Rotosound strings either by Amazon or from Strings and Beyond over where you are, which I think is North Carolina. Strings and Beyond are cheaper than me buying strings through my artist deal with Rotosound.
Funny, isn't it?
Mad. Well, basically what happened was they put their artist prices up after COVID, and we had two increases. Because before COVID, standard 4000 steel swing bases were about £11.50.
Yep.
Now it's like £17.50.
Right.
So it is what it is. So rather than paying loads more money for the same gauges that I always use, I'm quite happy picking up the cheaper sets of 40 to 95s. Or I think there's a couple of sets which are 40 to 105. I'll just go with that. Life's too short. I can't be worrying about all of that. But you end up paying the money just for a couple of extra turns of metal. It's like crazy. Doesn't make any sense. It hurts me in the wallet, because when I used to have my deal with Picato, it was £5 for a set of 4-string nickels and £5.50 for a set of 4-string steels. And if you had 5 strings, it was £6.
Right.
No matter the material. It's like double. Well, no, now it's 3 times the price.
Yep.
There we go.
There
we go.
I mean, I've spoken with, actually, for a moment, I was writing reviews of albums for Bass Frontiers.
Yeah.
Something Bass Frontiers magazine, something of that sort. And I actually reviewed Jason Howe's personal albums. And so he gave me a kind of a little adjustment, if you will, on how much I had to hit up for strings. And so I tried to get the roto-based nickels, and I think I emptied them out, and then they never restocked, or they restocked very lightly because not a lot of folks asked for those.
Yeah. Well, I think they've become more popular just because the prices of strings have gone up. So people are looking for the cheapest alternative. So
sure. I mean,
that's why.
If I could, I may have to speak with him again, but the last time I spoke with Jason, he kind of connected me with his distributor here, and they were telling me they were having some troubles getting those, and I'm like, well, if I can't keep a set moving, if I can't keep acquiring them, I'm going to have to do something else.
When was this? When are we? What? What year are we talking here?
22.
See, I've seen
22. So,
rotos all over the place since, but you won't get them at 3090s. So unless your distributor can do you a custom set and they'll make them. But again, I think Jason is trying to keep the 30 to 90s as a premium product. That's the only light gauge string you can have. I know there was a people were really hacked off that Mark King gets that set with double ball, or he did when he was using the King bases. He
right.
got his sets with double ball ends.
Yep.
Joe Public couldn't
Yep.
have a set of Funkmaster with double balls. You had to have them with regular windings and then put them grub screw, clip off the excess. They wouldn't do
Right.
double ball end 30 to 90s for the public. So now if you go on Rotor Sound, if I go on now and look at the double ball end range, there's not a huge amount of gauges. Where are we? Double ball end, come on. It's the DB sets. Crikey. Here we go. Swing bass, double ball end, 66. You can have them 4095, 4505, or 45130. That's your options.
Right.
That's all there is.
Right.
But Mark, because Mark is Mark, gets his with double ball ends. Everyone else, you want 3090s, you got to buy Funkmaster sets.
Right. Right. Well, so I ended up going with Kalium strings because I could
Oh
get
yes,
I could
Skip.
get a crafty. Skip has given me all kinds of adventures and games. So even now, I mean, on my JDs, even on my attitude basis, is going to sound funny to you perhaps, but even on my attitude base, I have a.
Oh, you've locked up. There we go.
So
I can hear you.
there,
I can't see.
so I, that's all good.
There we go.
So 39 to 94 is the balanced set,
Okay.
and that means that across the fingerboard from top to bottom, the string weight and the pressure pull balances, and of course they're nickel wound, with steel core and whatnot, and they're quite good, and they last me a long time.
Okay.
Even with as hard as I play on them, they last me for at least months, and then they go dead. Then I can
How many gigs would you say you got out of a set?
about 35 or 40.
That's okay. That's that. I mean, I know you watch some of the bass string experiment series, but I knew before I went into that generally I'll get 30 to 35 gigs out of a set of rotor sounds on any of my
Yeah.
basses. I didn't expect it to get to 73, but I was pushing it, and at the end it was like, I cannot take the risk that these are going to go at some point, and the tone had seriously dropped off. 30 to 35, that's pretty good,
Yeah, we'll take it. I mean, I've gone further. I've left them on there for 6 months, and I keep playing them. The set I've got on there now has been on there for 6 months with incessant playing,
Mm.
and I don't have any issue. I haven't had an issue. So the only reason I would have to swap them out at this point would be if I want that bright, zingy sound for a session.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, Strings Adventures, it never ends. It
right.
really doesn't.
Well, it's kind of like with basses. It all goes together, not just for the obvious reasons, because you're always chasing something. I mean, I ended up. You might find this hysterical or not. I ended up down a rabbit hole on YouTube. I ended up down a rabbit hole on YouTube a couple days ago, and I ended up in the world of Talk Talk,
As in the band.
as in the band. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm watching Paul Webb with the fretless aluminium neck Kramer.
Mm-hmm. Don't go anywhere cold.
Right, go anywhere cold, your finger get to it, and then it changes as it goes. And then he swapped to a Stingray, which was probably for the best in that way. But it
Yeah.
was interesting to, again, bass wise, because at some point along the way, I've had a couple of those metal necked Kramers, and there is a certain sound that they have that you don't necessarily get from something else that looks like a P bass.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of
Agree.
interesting to reflect on that for a moment.
Have you ever played one of the LaFays?
I
I
have.
reviewed one of them.
Yeah, there was a guy here who had a couple of them. Yeah, I've tried them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Surprising tone.
it
Really
is.
good, actually. Yeah.
It's interesting. It's kind of like doing the Ritter. You know, I've
Mm.
got a friend here who's got a couple of custom made Ritter bases, and they're nice. Not my thing, but they're nice. You know,
Yeah. They are what
built.
they are.
That's kind of way boutiquey above my desired pay
Hmm.
grade.
Correct. I don't know anyone that's got a deal with him.
Uh,
I think if you go down that, I know Base Gear in Twyford used to have various examples of his creations, and Phil Nixon, the guy that ran Base Gear with Barry, he bought a couple, and I reviewed a couple, and they were lovely, really nice bass. I just couldn't, you know, top range silver for the fret markers, and it's just like, I get it. There's someone has to do that sort of thing. You know, it's like the Bugatti of basses. You know, but it's just, you know, he's not doing it because he needs to make money. He's doing it because of the love of the instrument. So he doesn't
and the
rely on his bass sales to keep his life going.
right between the art form of making something that's a little more unique.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's been some of his basses I've looked at and gone, wow, yeah, really impressive. It's lovely. And then there's other things that are so off the wall, and I'm like, fine, it's not for me. They're not. He's not appealing to me. He's appealing to those people who are looking for the finer things in life, and aren't looking for a working instrument. They're looking for something they can noodle about with at home for their own pleasure. Probably you don't see many of them on a stage. Put it that way.
No, you really don't. I mean, when you get into kind of that level of things, it's rare that you see certain things on stage.
Mm.
It's kind of funny in a way. There's a guy here that plays in downtown Nashville that plays, and
Sorry, you cut out there, mate.
sorry, it just jumped on the Wi-Fi. That's why. Sorry. Um, there's a guy downtown here who plays Smith downtown in the
Ken
honky
Smith.
Ken Smith. And when's the last time you seen a Ken Smith in the wild side of someone who's playing funky gospel sound kind of stuff? You
Yeah, you might see them occasionally on function gigs. I know a couple of players here in London that had them
know?
maybe within the last 10 years. They've gone through a bit of a resurgence because of the Hadrian Thoreau model.
Yeah.
Bass Direct here have been selling a few Smiths here and there.
Jones, the guy Jones over there with you, he's making look like.
Oh, Jones basses. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. He contacted me actually a while back about doing some reviews, but he only does 6 strings. And I said to him, your basses look fabulous, and I would love to feature some of them, but are you going to do any 4s or 5s? And he went, no, 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 it's just 6s. Said, to be brutally fair, there are probably other people with YouTube channels who could do a far better job getting the best out of those instruments. I'm not a 6 string bass player. I'm just not.
Mhm.
I can do it. It'll be okay. But you're going to get people going, well, he doesn't know how to play 6 string bass. Well, I don't claim to. I don't play 6 string bass. I've never in my life had a request from someone saying, you've got to have a 6 string bass to do this gig or this recording. So I don't have one in the collection. I've reviewed a few, but yeah, his stuff definitely takes a few pointers from the Ken Smith stuff.
Definitely. I mean, they
Certainly.
looked almost identical, and I was kind of like, oh, somebody's going to.
Ken Smith is someone you don't want to rile up. He will jump all over you. So
Right.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that one pans out. We will see. So where are you now?
Actually sitting, you know what, just for fun, let's step out of the shiny metal box for a moment. There's something I want to show you besides the hat.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
A moment
Okay.
here.
Nice hat.
We're gonna, oh yeah, that's Perry the platypus. Yeah. Let's just jump out here. It's something I think you might get a laugh out of. Just a moment.
Mm.
Let me. Actually, there's two things here you might get a laugh out of, because it's going to take you back to a moment in time that doesn't exist anymore. Let me start
Okay.
with this little guy right here.
Oh wow.
Uh huh.
Mm. Yes.
We have we have the saloon sitting here, shall we say. Now,
Very nice.
French for the pièce de résistance. Let me show you
Well,
this.
there we go. There you
Indeed.
go. Is that yours?
It's mine.
Ah, does that
Yeah,
get out on the road very often?
it does. I run
Ah,
it about when
we
like
we
I could give you.
do, or past couple of years, Uncle Funk have played at the VW Camper Jam. Camper Jam, not Camper Jam. It's the Bug Festival at
Oh,
Wellingborough,
uh-huh.
Santa Pod, and they have
Yep.
all of those, like some very one-off iterations of those camper vans. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not right if it doesn't have, you know, this little guy. So yeah,
Quite right.
I run it about here and there. We have some
Mm,
fun. Hello, George.
grand.
That
Oh,
Ollie's mate here. Ollie's mates are over here.
ah, the beast.
Right, right. So yeah, but I mean but I figured you'd get you a good laugh out of that because again,
Excellent.
and how to see those? I mean,
Yeah. Ah, very
we
nice.
have, we have our '80s moments,
Of course. Of course.
right? Right.
So are you gigging tonight? Sorry, did you say?
So I'll be doing up tomorrow morning. I'm
Right.
actually going to go. A friend of mine tonight. He asked me if I would come out and watch him. They're doing a. This is one of the things that's You're So Nashville. If there's a get together they have here called the. Let me see if I get this right. The emo prom night.
Okay. Be
So,
a lot of
yeah,
black makeup.
that
Yeah.
was my first thing. Was okay. Um,
You're far
they
too colourful.
well, they play like '90s songs, but they have
Right.
everybody dressed if they're going to the high school prom.
They'll be doing a 20-minute version of Creep then.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was invited, so I will probably go and watch him do his thing this evening. You know, we just do what we do, and then tomorrow's a whole nother adventure.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent stuff.
indeed.
Better let you crack on with your weekend then.
Yeah, and I think right now, if I was doing temperature measurement properly, right now here it is currently 21.
Oh, okay.
So
21 warm or 21 freezing? 21 freezing.
cold.
Oh my God. How? So you minus, what's that? Minus 10?
Well, it's 21 Fahrenheit, so I have to do the conversion again. But
Yeah. Well, 37 is zero. So
32 is zero, so 32 is freezing. So
is it? Sorry. It's been a long time since I was at school.
it's time for a cuppa. Yes. Uh,
Mm.
mm. See, we didn't get
Oh,
into centigrade too much. It didn't give us a whole lot of centigrade. So
God.
right. Oh,
Yeah, 32. God, how did I not know that? Good. Don't put me on a quiz show. Jeepers.
no worries.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
21. Yes, you're looking at about -8, aren't you? Ah, there you go. There you go.
I think I'm going to have a Swedish ride. I'm going to have a Swedish band rip
Mm,
backside.
quite. Very good. Well,
Huh?
what have we got here today? I think it's about 10 or 11 here today. So
Lovely.
but it was 15. Yeah, it was 15 yesterday. Yes.
That's cool. Yeah.
Took
Yeah.
the dog for the walk. But it gets a bit cooler
Right.
this week. But it's going to be about 8 or 9. So we'll
Right.
soldier on. Shorts aren't coming out yet.
Well, for me, I think Monday or Tuesday, the shorts will jump out because it'll be 62, which is like 30 or
Oh,
27.
crikey.
So,
That's a hell of a swing in temperature.
welcome to the middle of the South of the USA. Yes.
I've heard. I've
Yeah.
heard.
So, I mean, as you can see, nothing is growing yet. So, yeah.
No, we've started getting sort of rosebuds and stuff in the garden, so
Oh, right,
it'll
right.
be coming. Yeah, it'll
Yeah,
be
I'm
coming.
looking forward to it because I am not a fan of dressing up like this.
No, no, no. It's been a long winter. Although I say that, and we didn't really get cold here until just after Christmas. It was okay, fairly temperate. And then it
Right.
dropped really rapidly. It's been like
Hmm.
that ever since. But
There you
all
go.
good. Are,
Yeah,
are we going into the cave, or are
we're
you are
good. Yeah,
you off?
give me a moment to jump into the cave and lose the Perry the Platypus
No
habit.
worries. No worries. I'll go back to hosting this
Yeah,
shambles show.
give me a moment. I'll return in a moment.
Very good. I'll see you on the window. Excellent. There we are. Jerry Blair, good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Hope bass playing's going good. I'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks, won't I, Uncle Funk, on the 15th in where? Remember to let me know a little bit, about a week before if you're coming, and I'll put you on the guest list. If you're bringing anyone, let me know, and I'll put them on as well. Just check this. What's that? Oh no, that's fine. So here we are. It's just gone 4 o'clock here in London town, here in the UK. It is Brooks's Bass Corner. It's live chat 101. 101. Do we start again at 0 now, or we'll rack up the numbers, shall we? So if you're coming in, you're thinking, what the hell is going on here? That was Jamie Millard over in Nashville in the US. So if you've got questions about basses, bass guitars, bass amps, bass effects, bass accessories, strings, cleaning materials, how to set up a bass, how to build a pedal board, doing your first auditions as a bass player, looking for any career advice. I sound like a school teacher, don't I? If I can help in any way with your bass playing adventures, let me know. And if I don't know the answer, someone here on the live chat will have a clue. How did I not know freezing point was 32 degrees? Why did I think it was 37? Idiot. See, haven't been at school for years. You can have a degree, but you don't know freezing point. That's great, that. Well done, Mike. Very good. Don't come to me for education. That's, I would say. So thank you to all new subscribers. We have multiple subscriber surges this week. I tried to explain that. So it's basically when you get days where the subscriber numbers become a bit erratic. I'm used to like 1 or 2 joining on a day, maybe. I lose some as well. But this week we've had 3 or 4, no, about 3 occasions where we've suddenly ratcheted up like 10 new subscribers on the bounce. It's great when it happens. Great for me. Lovely for the ego. And he's returned. Here we go. There we go. There he is.
We have returned gallantly. Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
Yep. We've made it out of the shiny metal box, shall we say.
Sorry, a bit of lubrication for the old throat there.
No worries.
Now we're on to the bottle of water.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I don't know if you saw the review I put up last night. It was an Anaconda. I'm sure you're aware of Anaconda. You must have seen them when you were here at the bass show.
Yeah,
Andrew Taylor Cummings.
I've seen them. I haven't seen your last one, but I saw the last one that you did one not too long ago, right?
I did one a couple of weeks ago, which was the 5-string Constrictor, the woody thing. Yeah. So the one that went up last night is the 5-string version of the cheaper series that he does. So for years he was making his own instruments, and then he needed to hike up the number. He needed to sell more instruments, so he needed a cheaper range that were quicker to produce. Well, I say quicker. Basically, you put a bulk order in with a Chinese firm that makes them, and then they'll ship 100 back to you. So he needed that cheap, like with Dingwall, need to have the combustions and the NG2s. Andrew wanted, because hand building a bass takes time. It takes months. Needed something that was a bit more instant on the return side, and he first started doing them. I remember him talking about the idea for them in 2018, and then he had the first ones came through in 2019, because I remember having one for review very early on at the magazine, and I thought, wow, how's he done that for the price? And they've progressed, and he's just up the game, and now they've got their own circuits, own pickups in. The 4-string is fabulous, and this 5-string. So he gave me 4 basses at the end of 2023. And I did all the filming and stuff, but because of family issues here last year, it was difficult to get that sort of run to get all the stuff out, all the content. But the 5 of the cheaper range, which is the Essence range. That's what I put up last night. Just trying to see where we are on the numbers because they were looking very good. It's been consistently watched overnight. So at the moment, it's about to tick over in the 300 views since 10 o'clock last night. So it's good.
Okay.
But it's a fine base. Oh, and there's a lot of players in America picking up on them. There's a guy called Jamal Nichols, who I think is a gospel player. And he has his own model now with Anaconda, which is a white and gold affair. But they just play great, really great value for money. And there's a degree of sort of customizability. If you order directly through Andrew, rather than just take the ones that have come in, you can actually spec to a degree some different things. But very good. Really good sounding pickups and circuit as well.
Even better. Just for fun, I pulled up Bass Brothers UK, and the first thing that pops up is a King Bass Parametric with blue LEDs for $5,000.
Let's have a look.
Yeah.
There was people trying to sell some on Facebook through the week. And there was questions as to whether people were saying they'd been left certain bases by their family members and they wanted to know what they were worth for insurance purposes. It wasn't they were scams, but I don't know if that that looks exactly like the one that the person was talking about on Facebook. So whether they've cashed in or not, I don't know. For $5,000, that's what the price is. You want that? There's not going to make another one, so
nope.
It's a good guide, and the thing is, we'll sell that for $5,000. That will go. That probably won't be there by Monday.
Probably not. I was looking through because you keep a cap on the sold bases. You can click into the sold section. All the JDs, all those lovely pearl monsters show sold. So maybe he shifted the white one even after the guy that I know passed up.
Right.
So
yeah,
anything's possible.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that Parametrics, I was getting the impression over the past couple of months that sort of the status second-hand prices were leveling off. They weren't quite as rampant as they'd been, and people were starting to sell things sensibly again. But $5,000 for a Parametrics, that's new Kubicki territory.
Yeah, that's a wee bit up there, shall we say.
So, I mean, anyone that buys it is going to be very happy with it, but it is what it is. So, you better like that string spacing and you better like that body design and how it sounds, because that's what it is. You're not going to be ripping the circuit and pickups out of that. Well, you can, but I suggest you don't, because it won't maintain its value if you do.
All right. He's also got a Heyman 4040 in here for $699.
That's been there for a couple of weeks. And he's got a couple of very nice Rickenbackers in there. I know that'll tickle your toes.
Well, like I said, I've got so many of them sitting here. I think I could tickle with the ones I've got.
Yeah. There's a very nice 79 Music Man Sabre in there for $2,250.
I saw that as well.
Maple. Yeah, it's very nice.
Actually,
look, we can do this. We should do this every Saturday. Go through the base retailers and see what their current stock is. It's good. There's a very nice 1995 Alembic Epic 4. I can't believe these bases are now going for $2,000 plus. For years, they were about $1,000, sometimes less.
Right.
They seem to have resurged, as all the Alembic stuff has.
The funny thing is he's got a 97 Roscoe Beck, the Fender Roscoe Beck Signature 5.
Yep.
Bass is a crusher.
Say that again. The bass is what?
Crusher. That's a killer bass. I had a few of those back in the 90s. If I was going to play a 5-string again, I would get one of those.
Yeah. Lots of 5-string players went for those instead of Stingrays.
They did. Well, because the bass was wider, because it was basically a jazz bass all the way across, which in the tonal palette that you got there and all the things you could use it for was just amazing. And it's all passive, so you didn't have to worry about battery and all that stuff.
That's right.
But
there's an 88 Series 2000 there for $3,000. I'm surprised that's still there. I thought that would have gone actually.
Faded groove bass there for $849, the wooden one.
Yeah. And there's also a smart bass there, which were the ones you could design using the online configurator. That didn't take off.
It was before. It was
It
definitely
was before what?
before its time.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
People
everybody,
weren't ready for it back then.
yeah. Oh, here we go
Uh,
for the Taylor fans in the room. 1981 Aria B1000 for $799.
there you go. There
If
you
you want
go.
to
It's
get your
very
video,
nice. 2022 GNL CLF Research L2500 there for 1149.
hmm
Very nice.
and of course the 83 wall fretless for $8,000.
Well, the gallery just sold one for 10, so
Right.
it doesn't
Uh,
surprise me. Uh, yeah, that's there. I'm trying to catch up. You're getting through the pages quicker than I am.
I'm just.
See, I do like that yellow Stingray 5 Special. I love that yellow and black.
hmm hmm
That
Yeah.
that works for me. I do like a yellow base.
Yeah. See, I was thinking about chatting with a guy because these really old Rickies, they're big money. The ones I've
Mm,
got, they're not
hmm
the modern ones at all. I mean, I've pulled them up before, so the ones he's got on here, he's got there's a 76 4001 for 3300. Nobody has
mm,
60. Can't get a Ricky in 60s model for anything. Five.
right.
I've been watching because I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
they're
those.
sitting
Well,
here.
again, those things, they're super vintage now. You know,
They are.
we were talking about these sort of bases 10 years ago, and
Yeah.
now here we are, another 10 years on, and
Right.
this is why all this gear is still rocketing up in price. It's just I
hmm
don't know where it stops because everyone. Well, it's fine if you're like Scott Devine and you're making millions off your channel and everything else. You can go and buy these things and then feature them in a video, and they earn their
Right.
money.
Yep. Yep. That's
Um,
why he purchased that wall. That was from, what was it, from Live Aid or from?
yeah, he bought that from the gallery. So basically, it was a WAL that was taken to the Band Aid studios for recording and was
Mhm.
used on the record, although it doesn't look like it in terms of color and finish. And I think Trevor Horn already had a WAL, so maybe that is what features in the video. But basically, Wall gave them that bass to then use on the record and then sell. Now, there was claims that it was used at Live Aid. I don't think that's correct. I can't remember, other than Martin Kemp, I can't remember too many other players using a wall at Wembley. But
Dennis Smith.
basically, no, he used a JD.
He had both up there though. There was a wall fretless. If
Ah, okay.
because I know
Well,
I was.
that probably was his own one. That wasn't the one that had been donated. But then Rhino Edwards, who became the bass player for Status Quo at that time, was a session player, and he was doing things like Dex's Midnight Runners and what have you. And obviously, he has bought that bass over time. And then last year or the year before, 2023, he had a slimming down and consolidated his collection and put a load of his collection into the gallery to be sold. He's selling precisions and statuses and all sorts. And that was that WoW base. So obviously Scott thought, if I buy that, we can do a load of videos with it, which
Sure.
lo and behold, that's what they've done. Quite right.
There's one. There's
I'd
one
do the
guy.
same.
There's one guy. I can't remember his name. Is Joey something, and he's got a bunch of walls, but he's got one that was the base from the '99 Luftballon video from Nena,
Oh, yeah.
and I
Yeah.
mean he's asking quite a bit for it,
Mm.
and why it still sits there.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, I looked at the 10 grand WoW at the gallery, and my friend Gary sold a Geddy Lee wall, black and gold, a while back and got a very pretty penny for it.
Yeah.
And I thought the prices were adjusting a little because the ones that have been sold in the gallery since have been a couple of grand less than that Geddy Lee. But now
hmm
they've just sold one for 10. So maybe that's back where they are.
Could
Let's
be.
have a look, see what's
Well,
in
there's,
there.
like we've talked about before, there's kind of a mystique or something around the wall sound.
Hmm.
I mean, I had six of them over the years. I mean, I sort of kind of understand it, but not for that money.
No.
Maybe I'm maybe I'm just bonkers. I don't know, but not for that money.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I've played probably about 20 over the years when I've had the chance to play. I was never a great fan of that sort of V neck thing.
Right.
That just didn't really sit well with me. I'll play anything, but I thought, well, if I'm plumping all that money down, I want it to work for me. I shouldn't be adjusting for it. But and then there were always other priorities. Like I wanted to get the status thing up and running. I wanted to get some alembics. I wanted other things in the collection. And over time, those prices just gone up to a point where it's not even possible. And the one time I had one there in my hand that I could have bought, I didn't want to pay the extra 50 quid that the shop wanted for it. I would have got it for 950.
Well, yeah.
Series
I mean,
2 Mark 5 unscratched. And it was fretted and I was going to defret it. And the
it
guy went,
reminds.
well, we want 950. And I went, well, 900. And he went, no, it's 950. There was another guy in the shop waiting for me to walk away so he could buy it. So he got it.
Well,
We
that's
didn't know. We didn't know.
well. I mean, the first wall that I purchased was an '84, and I paid $8.99 for it. And it
Mm.
was the wingy top and back and all that. And I mean, it had been run through the ringer because somebody took all the frets out and left all the slots open. So I had to have it refretted and get it all set up. And by the time that happened, everything was good for a moment. And then one of the capacitors on the preamp gave out. So I had to request some parts. And at that time,
Mm-hmm.
Pete Steve, a little care package in the mail. And a friend of mine was great with the hot iron, and we fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, it's just it. And I had a bunch more after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I got it
Yeah.
for all the hype, is what I'm saying.
Well, no one saw that coming
Right.
because
Right.
for years, I mean, if I go back through, I've got like the whole collection of Basis magazine here.
Mm.
And in the back, they had the classifieds. And if you go back through that, so from 94 up to 2000, you could pick any of the 80s base exotica that you wanted: JD, Wall, Status, Alembic, Overwater. GBs hadn't really taken off at that point.
Mm.
But everything was so cheap because it wasn't the trend of the day. Everyone wanted vintage Fenders, Rickeys, and Gibsons because of
Right.
Britpop here in the UK. And then as tastes changed through the 90s, again, base exotica was not the thing, not at all. Uh,
Hmm.
and there were walls in there for like 550,
Yep.
600. JDs for 600, 650. There was just no market for that stuff. So people were offloading as well, where they were suddenly going, oh, well, I'm not, my JD isn't holding its value or whatever. I need a vintage Fender. That's going to cost me 2.5. So I need to sell this to finance that.
Right.
And there was all that going. But, had we known, I'd have done my darndest to get $5,000 together, and I would have bought 10 walls up and put them in their cases and left them under the stairs. And now I'd be in a different place.
Yeah. You'd have picked off the flat and purchased.
Well,
And
if I'd bought 10 at 600, say,
yeah,
I'd be looking at probably close to
100.
100 grand.
Right.
It's not a bad investment. But we
No.
didn't
No.
know. None of us foresaw that. But then you could say that about all the people that looked at Fenders in the 60s. And now, if you had them in their cases and they were still in good nick and nothing had changed, you'd be looking in excess of sort of 10 to 15 grand each.
For jazz bass.
You just don't know. You don't know. I mean, look, I keep hold of these and you never know what's going to happen. But then I couldn't have foreseen that my Lembics were suddenly going to almost triple. But
Right.
you don't know these things at the time.
Well, because I mean,
It's the way it is.
you're just playing, getting a few bits going here and there to make it happen. You're not worried about
Mm,
this thing of gold in my hand. Because your gold is this.
correct. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, they're tools. They're tools to
Right.
get the jobs done. I have
That's the way.
attachments or a few, but there's going to come a point one day where I'm not going to be able to play them, or I'm not going to have a gigging opportunity to use them, and they're going to have to be liquidated. But there we
Right.
go. Don't get
Yeah.
depressive.
Well, it comes to everybody at some point. So just
Yeah.
the point, like you and I have talked about before, make a count because you don't know if tomorrow's here.
Well, that's correct. But I'd
You know,
rather I was the one that liquidated them.
right,
You know,
right,
it's like I know they've gone for what they should
right.
get. We'll see. We'll see. It's a long way off yet. I've
Oh,
got
yeah,
many more gigs to do.
we got ways to go. Well, I figured
That's right.
because all mine are kind of special. I'm just going to leave them to the kids. They know what they are.
Yeah. As long as you
So
leave a little list, what you bought them for and what they're currently worth.
I don't think they'll
Them
get rid of
people.
them. I don't think they'll get rid of them just because. I mean, even for example, my oldest son, he's a piano concerto guy. So I mean, he can start playing. Pick the orchestral arrangement of your favorite Brahms, Beethoven, or Mozart
Mm.
piece, and he's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he also has before he played piano, he played guitar. So I purchased him a Steve Vai gem. So he's got, because he was doing all of this stuff,
Yeah.
So he knows what they are. And the other three, they know as well. And they know how much I use them because they're paying. Because they come see me sometimes when I'm at.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Well, it's good if they know these things. If they know these things, it's good. It's good. Good.
Yep. Yep. So all the pink will stay in the house.
Quite right too. Quite
Yes.
right too. So, any further news on your JD swapping thing, painting thing? The one you were
Again,
trying to get from the. We
it's
haven't
it's
moved any further.
working out this stuff.
Well, that's always the trick, isn't it? So.
It is. It is. And that's so. I mean, the beauty of this is, and I mean, I don't know if I said this when we were speaking last weekend, but I actually know of three of them, and I could have my choice of the three.
Right.
And I'm kind of setting aside a few bob here and a few bob there just to make sure because I want to do the right thing. At the same time, I'd like to have all three of them because I'm that twisted. What would happen if you had three more pink JDs here?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this though, Toby, when we were going through paints for one of these, I think for the neon for the fretless, he sent me a photo that someone had asked for a specific pink because of me. And Toby had this idea, and he made this pink color with kind of a color shifting clear coat that would turn it almost blue.
Oh, right, flipping.
Yeah, kind of, but it wasn't
Yeah.
so severe. It was very subtle.
Okay.
And he said he painted it, and he sent me a photo of it. So I have a photo of this thing. And he said when they were done with it, the guy who was ordering it about had a coronary. Too
Ooh,
bright, too bright.
okay.
Oh,
Right.
and I'm like, you should have just left that one for me and given him something else.
Yeah. Just wait another 2 years and then you can have your base. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
trying to decide, I could actually get a new one. And Toby has the paint for anything ready to do. If I grab a used one and I have it sent over or delivered to the shop,
Mm.
I could have it done. He's got the paint waiting for me. And then, of course, what I told you about the other time about the checkerboard or the chessboard, if you like, that's an option. And there's one more I'm just kind of sitting on. I'm just kind of waiting because it's just kind of quietly set aside that nobody really knows about. Kind of sitting there going, you know. So
We've all been there.
right.
This is
I'm just
nothing new.
I'm just going to sit here and have a cuppa and wait.
That's it.
You know.
You
So
just, yeah. Yeah. I can remember in 2002 when I was starting to build sort of the collection. This is what I want to have. And yeah, you come in from gigs. I'd be driving on my way home from gigs thinking, I can't wait to get home because there's a couple of bases. I need to just check this and that. And I've got to go to that site and that site. And I know that bloke's selling one on eBay. And I need to go to Loot. And the base centre have got a couple of... and it was like you were surveying the wares.
Right.
And I want a 2000, but I don't want a red one. I want that, and I do want a white one, but I want that, and that Padula looks good. And you're just trying to juggle all those things. It seemed to be a lot easier to get that stuff back then. I don't
Yeah.
know, a lot of those things that we all think, oh, base exotica we'd like, just seem to have disappeared off the market.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and where are they?
Well, they're all in a case under somebody.
There's a lot of bases. Just seem to things I've seen, things I've played, things that used to get passed from pillar to post that were really good bases have just disappeared.
Yep.
And
yep. I traced one
down.
I was looking at one. Ironically, it's a JD, but it was originally very nice quilted maple top, had lights, LEDs, the whole 9 yards. And Sir Nick had it for a bit. It had gone through 3 color changes. It was originally kind of the natural, so you could see all the grain and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of a bluish, greenish fade, which looked amazing on the wood.
Are we talking JDs?
Yes.
Was that the Neptune base?
That one. And Sir Nick acquired it, and it became red. And then it disappeared.
Okay.
And then it disappeared, but I know where it is now.
Oh.
A mate told me sometime back, he told me he had to remind me because I asked, where did this thing go? I now know where it is.
Right.
And now
this
it's just
side of the pond?
It's on that side of the pond.
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm going to just kick back and wait. Because that was brilliant. I mean, it had LED. The JD logo had the LED behind it, so it would light up. The side markers and such were all LEDs. That Stims had done a lovely. And then, of course, the only kicker to it is that the explanation was the neck was shaved down, so it didn't move a lot. Which doesn't.
Be careful with that.
Right. Well, I've had a few of those. I've had a few that kind of went, oh, look, the season's changed. What do we do now? So, out comes the wrench, and here we go, and we move on.
Yeah.
One
of those.
Yeah.
One of those. I know it well.
Right. So, so I'm just kind of sitting back and waiting on that. No rush, no worries.
Okay.
You
just keep building the pot then.
Right. Because if I build the pot, then everybody says, oh, and then
there'll be something turns up.
See here. What are we going to do? I'll send across, So, yeah.
Yeah. There we are. Right, where are we? It's 4:30 here. We can do another half an hour.
10.
This live chat. That's it. Nice and early for you, mate.
Oh yeah, well that's still morning time. Still have a tea.
Quite.
Yes.
I'm trying to see. We've got 4 people on at the moment.
There you go.
Let's see. We've got the banners there. There we are. That's us. Very good. Jerry Blair, I saw you there. Yep. I think I just addressed that, didn't I? So, yes, if you want to come and see the Uncle Funk show on 15th of March, you say you're coming. That's fine. Hopefully, you'll appear on the live chat on the 8th, or we'll be in touch together through Facebook Messenger, and I'll sort that out for you. No problem.
Good stuff.
Yeah. That's it. I'm just checking. We haven't got any other emails at the moment. No. Anyone comes in, wants to join me and Jamie for some base chat, you can just email me. The ticker's running along the bottom of the screen. Email me at brooks'sbasecorner@gmail.com. I'll send you an invite. You click on the invite, you come straight through. You too can be part of this orgasmic base chat.
With Brooksy.
That's it. You
don't
get to do this every day.
Right. Did I ever show you? Right.
Go on.
The crazy old neck cut off the JD.
Yes, you did. It's like a bit of old featherwood. Yeah. So that's just the back end of it. That's just the back end of it with no fingerboard on. How slim is that? Who wanted it that slim? It's crazy.
Well, if you look really closely, I don't know if I can get it in here, but if you look really closely right here.
Yeah. It's split.
Not because the headstock thick. So
Hmm.
when the guy messed it all up,
Crazy.
and then
There was this. There was that. There was that trend for a while. I mean, I did it with the Kabiki when the neck went back to feel for sealing, and I said, "Can you take a little bit off the thickness because the Kabiki necks were quite thick?" He said, "Oh, more?" I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "It feels a bit blocky. It's a bit full on. So if you could just take a bit off, that'd be great." And there was a trend in the 90s. Everyone was in the speed. Everyone wanted to be Billy Sheehan, didn't they? Flying around the board. Oh, we need the thinnest neck possible. Thin, and it's like I remember the Arias. Some of the Arias on their cat bases were very thin. People just wanted thinness. Oh, it means I play better. Blah, blah, blah. It's like it's not that. It's not that. That can
right,
help in a degree, but it's not the thickness of the neck that's preventing you from doing that. Unless it was like a big old, 50s P neck or something,
that's the
or a
attitude.
70s one.
That's the attitude.
A bit of that, yeah. There's a bit, but again, that's built for him. That's his taste. It's no one else. If you don't like what his taste is, and it's not going to work for you. But he's got
Right.
big hands.
He
He
does.
gets across that fingerboard. I remember I did a hand press with him, and it was like my hand fingers were like half the length. And Stanley Clark's the same. He's got hands like an alien. I don't know quite where. I mean, his fingers are just like enormous, like tentacles. Crazy stuff.
How do you do that with that little face with a little thing that looks like a toy? You know what I'm
I
saying?
know. But then you
Uh,
see, it looks like that on him because he's
right.
tall. He's got long limbs, long fingers. You put it on anyone else, it just looks like a normal bass, but it still flips up.
Well, that was one of the things I had to readapt to for the JD, just because Mark King is about 5'6", something about that. He's not a tall guy,
I think he's about 5'8". Yeah, he's about 5'8". He's not
and
the
so
tallest. I think he shrunk a little bit last time I saw him. It was like,
yeah, he's
hmm,
wearing the right here. He's got it like this.
hmm,
The ball like it's this big. You know, I mean they're not small bases, but I mean I put it on, and to me it's kind of moderate size,
yeah.
and I'm like, oh, we got this wee
It's all
lad with the
relative.
big, you know.
It's all right. But you see, everyone always assumes that he has his string action low, and he doesn't. I mean,
Yeah.
I picked up this Swarovski King bass when it was at his flat when we were doing an interview. And he looked at me and he saw the look on my face. He said, "You thought I had a low action, didn't you?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "I've never assumed anything with your action. You're using light gauge strings, so that's predominantly where a lot of your speed is coming from." I
Right.
said, "But I didn't naturally assume you'd have a low action." He said, "Yeah, everyone always thinks the strings are going to be a lot closer to the fingerboard than they are." He said, "I just need like a medium standard action." He said, "Because I dig in. And if I didn't dig in, it wouldn't sound like me." He said, "But by digging in, you're still getting all that buzz. So imagine if it was lower, you wouldn't get a lot of the notes." He said, "I just have it how I want it. And then when some people said, "Oh, what was the action like?" It wasn't that low. It wasn't that low. But they just automatically equate a low action with speed. It's like
Well, a lot of times,
there's a degree of talent there. Yeah, think
right.
about the talent, guys.
If you're doing this, then you may have low action because you can actually play like the kind of the end
Yeah,
whistle thing with the rider thing.
yeah,
But if you're really digging in, you keep it low, and all you'll hear is them fretting out.
that's it. It
Yeah.
just the notes will choke higher up, and you know where.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't have a preconceived notion on what the string height was, but in fact, I think that was before because he went up a gauge. In fact, I think he
Mhm.
went to a higher G and D string gauge, but that was around about 2016, 2017. So at this time on that bass would have still been 3090s.
Yeah.
And but again, the King bass was a different beast anyway because of how it was. It's not a JD or an Alembic or any of the other standard 34-inch scale basses that he would play. Even though the Alembics were medium, you
Yeah.
still had huge distance anchor points. So even though the scale length measured nut to bridge, you've still got all that extra distance from the anchoring point of the ball end to where they were attached at the headstock. So you still got all that tension going on. And actually, I played a couple of his Alembics when they were at the Bass Centre when he was selling up that collection. And I remember thinking, I'm not picking any of these guitars up, and they're not instantly saying to me, amazing playability. They just are what they are. I thought picking up his Alembic would be like a halcyon moment. It'd be like, whoa, you'd hear the angels coming down, and oh God, I can play like it's him, it's his gear, it's how he has his basses, the string, it's all that. It's nothing to do with you. So,
Right. Right.
And then I'm playing his Stingray for 5 years. I never sounded like him, but then I wasn't trying to, apart from when I was doing a Level 42 tribute thing, which wasn't a gigging band. It was a bunch of guys practicing in a rehearsal room. But yeah, it's him, isn't it? It's him. But none of those I mean, the 5-string Empathy that's on the Town and Country Club show that was on the album as well. There was nothing great about that bass. I picked it up and went, God, it's horrible. It just didn't sound that great. And actually on that recording, the album's one thing, but the live recording from Town and Country, I didn't think the tone from that was that great. I've heard Statuses have better tone than that. And when I played it, it felt like, and all the basses had the same thing. There were dings and bangs all over them. And actually the Empathy, the 5-string Empathy, someone had used like a China graph to mark where all the controls should be in yellow.
Oh, yeah.
But it just didn't have a tone that made me go, yes, I want to buy it. The 4-string Empathy that Rob Steen bought, that had never been used outside of Mark's studio or home, was great. That sounded really good. But the 5-string was just, I didn't get it. I thought you're just buying it for the kudos of it, really. But the Stingray was everything I wanted a Stingray to be. It was like, wow, it was an 89. It still had a gloss neck, lovely bird's eye maple 1-piece neck and fingerboard. I was like, yeah, this is totally my bag.
Yes.
The Whale MIDI bass was there. It was horrible. And I remember sitting there playing it going, well, I'm not getting the vibe that this is a great bass, but also I'm more worried because at that time, WAL was still a thing. You could still go to them in High Wycombe. I remember thinking, what happens if any of these frets conk out?
Mm-hmm.
What if any of this technology goes wrong? Where do I take it?
Right.
Where does it go? And I can't remember. I'm sure it did have the MIDI brain rack mount with it, but I can't be certain. I still recall something saying that wasn't with it, but it might have been, it might not. But yeah, there we are.
Yep.
That was a funny old day. That was a funny old day.
I'm sure
there were a few people there because all of this was done by digest email. There was no website for people to know this.
Right.
And I think at that time, I'm sure I'm right, I still don't think there was a Bass Centre website back then.
Okay.
There was one of the where have I put them? There we go. One of these, but this came out weeks or months afterwards. Or it might have been one of the adverts. Talking about these, sorry.
Right, yeah.
These flyers from the Bass Centre. So that's winter 98, 99. I think it was in one of the magazines. It was in Bassist, and there were a couple of the basses left over. So they were doing, it was like a signature bass offer. So they had one of Cliff Williams's Stingrays was in there. The Maple Series 1 Alembic from Mark was still there. So John Randall bought that.
Right.
There was a bass from a Jazz. I think it was a 60. I'm guessing that it could have been like 66 Jazz bass from the bass player from Suede. Okay. And then there was another. The Star Child bass was still there, and that was $6,000 at the time.
Yeah, Morgan Roussel.
Like a sneap.
Snip. Yeah. Morgan Roussel bought Star Child bass.
He ended up buying a lot of them, so he now has the 5-string Empathy. He has my Stingray. Okay. He has the Matrix with Cocobolo top and red star LEDs that Alex Carter from the Bass Centre bought. That was Mark's. He has. Well, at one time he had a website up which had all of his X Mark basses. So he's got the GB Daphne Blue Spitfire,
Hmm.
which was called a classic back then. He's got a couple of Boone's guitars,
He's also got JD number 2, which was the one that
of
was played.
course.
That one was Nick had that one for a while,
Yeah. Well, that
and
that is the bass that funded Nick being a professional musician. That was
right,
10 grand in the pocket.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. And then Starchild went back to Mark. Mark got it back from Morgan.
yeah.
Because obviously he's been using it, or he used it last year or the year before on the tour dates, and now
Oh well,
he's,
he used it from once we came out of lockdown, so he had it in 2021.
yeah. So he's
So
got
it
the
was,
two now that JD made him.
yeah,
Um, the red one is actually an almost exact copy of 003, which is the original one that he
that's
purchased.
the original one. Yeah,
And then the other one he calls Florence, which is hilarious because it's
yeah,
the
that's
one,
the natural wood one.
yeah, the natural one with the walnut. It's,
Mm.
yeah,
Which
I
sounds
got,
great. He used that and the new red one when I saw them at Hammersmith in November 23.
right, right.
So it had
Toby,
great tone that night. Had really great tone that night.
he said, Toby told me that what he did was with all the basses, they matched the pickup, all 4 of them, so that they would sound the same across the board. So any which one he picked up, he could sound identical.
He's a
You know,
big stickler for that. That's one of the reasons he fell out with Bernie when he was
oh yeah,
doing the GBs. He wanted 2 basses that sounded the same. And as Bernie said, and as I've seen effectively at Warwick demoed, you
yeah.
can't make 2 basses sound exactly the same. It just isn't possible.
No, it's
Even with
not.
the same pickup, same circuit, you can get in the ballpark, but you cannot replicate the frequencies and the resonance of 2 bits of wood, even from the same tree.
Indeed,
They're 2 separate cuts with different aging and growth. One section of a tree might be really tightly packed, and another part might be a lot. It's not a technical term, flabbier in how it's grown, how the fibers have grown. They might have expanded further and yeah. Anyway, but
yep.
at Warwick they had 2 basses made of exactly the same tree, 2 bits of wood, separate cuts, everything else as identical as it could possibly be, and they ran sound, a playing string movement, and an oscilloscope, and you saw the frequency reaction. It wasn't the same. It wasn't even close.
Mm. No, I
So
understand.
yeah, all you can do is an approximation, and that's it.
Yeah, and I understand that because years ago I had a pair of matching red. They were ruby red, so they were red sparkly Rick. One was made December of '86, and the other was made January of '87. And they couldn't have been any more different, even though they looked identical.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's no.
There's a lot in the wood. There's a lot in the wood, whether people like it or not. There is, and even though, like with Bernie's electronics package, I've said many a time that you can have a real dog of a bass, but put that thing in it and the pickups, and it will sound pretty good because I've seen what that circuit can do in terms of changing how an instrument might sound. But the fundamental is still the wood. It's what you're making the instrument from.
Agreed. That's
If
one of
it
the
doesn't
reasons.
resonate, that's why you can get a bass that's 3 grand and it just doesn't resonate. There's nothing to it. You still got to pay 3 grand because it's been built and everything else. But some
Mhm.
bits of wood just don't. They just don't react to certain frequencies. You just it's luck of the draw.
Right. Well, that's one of the reasons why I actually like the attitude base because I've had 15 of these over the years now,
Mm.
and I still have one. Um, they because takes the wood and they tone shape it as a block.
Hmm.
And they put that little machine and they let it do its thing,
Yeah.
and then they cut the body blank out of it and they finish it and do all the rest. But that kind of treatment of the wood changes how everything goes,
Hmm.
because suddenly it's resonating differently. It's vibrating at a certain frequency,
Yeah.
and it feels like a worn in bass that you've had your whole life that you just get in and go. And I've
Yeah.
had them new off the box just like that. before, of course, I came at it with the paintbrush, but
And the spray can.
that too, and, so I mean, but it's really interesting to think about the fact that you can take a piece of wood and you could vibrate it to a certain frequency, and
Hmm.
it'll aid dry the wood and move the tone spectrum around a bit. That will give you that whole thing that comes out of that base wood, basically.
No,
You know,
totally agree.
so I'm all I'm
Totally
all
agree.
about all about that.
Mm. Yeah, I remember a mate who's a guitarist, and we were discussing all this, and as he pointed out, you can't replicate hundreds of years of growth of a tree by planting a tree and cutting it down within the next 10 years.
Right.
So, which is why the old guitars have their sound and their tone, because those bits of wood were growing for hundreds of years before timber merchants came and cut them down.
Yep.
Now, you plant to grow, cultivate, and use it. So those things never get to that level of growth. But at the same time, when you're playing, a bass or a guitar that's done thousands and thousands of gigs has had all that resonance going through it from the strings. It's been under tension and pressure, and you can't instantly replicate that.
Hmm.
You just,
You can,
it just you can't do it. It's only through doing it that those things. And I've had basses that I've owned. Like I think my GB, my Kingfisher bass now plays probably the best it has. It's done hundreds of gigs, and it's 21 years old.
sure.
That's not to say it didn't play amazingly when I got it. It did, but it has. I can hear it. It's got a slightly different sound to it. Um, but it's done all that work. It's been in different temperatures. It's been all over the place. Working instrument.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's my attitude base, because I mean I've taken it from here to Alaska 5 times.
Hmm.
And talking about a temperature shift, we're going above the Arctic
Hmm.
Circle.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing about this thing, and this, I mean, you know how much I love the JDs, but the combination of the JDs and the attitude base, those are my differences. I mean, I have all the Ricks and
Mm.
all the other stuff, but the attitude base, I've taken to all the extreme temperatures, the neck never moves.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
even if it flex for the action, if I'm going up in altitude, it just sits there. And so it's super consistent right out of the box or right off the plane.
Yeah.
And when you're in literally minus 50 and it just gets cracking on like we're sitting around on the beach, that's a well-made instrument,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
that's so I use it for just about everything because it has demonstrated that consistency. And they started off making it well,
Hmm.
you know.
No, agreed. 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 But then again, you see, it's this joy of using a status. Once you set it up once, you haven't got to adjust it again,
Yeah, yeah,
unless you change the string gauge. But
right.
yeah, I do. I mean, oh, God, when I was doing stuff in the Middle East, and it was 49 degrees night after night after night, and you're thinking it's going to move at some point. I mean, that's getting warm, but they didn't. They just stay as they are. Great. It's
Yeah,
all you
well,
ask. All you ask.
that's so for you the status does that, for me the attitude.
Yeah,
And
I think, or for me, the thing the status thing does is that I can take. Well, I've called it many a time. That empathy is a tonal battering ram. I can go into any band and it'll work. And I
right.
can, if I want the tone to jump out and I need the bass to be a bit more spiky, I can do that. If I need it to be a bit more subtle and subdued, it'll do that. And there's no fuss, there's no grief. Um, and yeah, I've never taken it on something and then gone, I can't hear the bass, it's lost. What's going? Never had that. I've had it with other basses, that's for sure, but never with that empathy.
Well, that's it's kind of like, so when I went to Ireland last time, that's when Sir Nick and I did a couple of swappage, some bass
Mm,
swappage. Of course, I brought back a JD and I gave him a custom P bass that
yep.
was made, had it made for him, complete top to bottom. He loved it. It's, as a matter of fact, the last photo of the shop, his studio, I saw it was still hanging on the wall.
It's still there. Yeah.
So I knew that was tickled, because it's like, okay, it actually worked for you.
It's a
Yeah,
keeper.
right. And I mean, so, coming back across the pond, I took two bases across the pond to play. And this is just how bonkers I am sometimes. I took that one, and I took a Rick with me. And Nick came to see me play a gig, and I handed him that one, and he handed me the JD. And then a guy from Scotland popped in. I gave him the Rick, and he handed me a JD. So
You're mopping them all up.
I was sweeping away. The longest time, though, I mean, I was given the test, and Mike Diggins asked me, like a year or two ago now. He said, I would love it if you would compare Dad's neck with mine. I said, sure, because I've got one of each.
Mm.
Because the stripy one is a 81. So it's one of the first. It was the 15th base made by JD ever. And when it started life, it was, cherry red, one pickup, blah blah blah. Now, of course, it's terrifyingly pink, uh, and all that. But I mean, so that was my comparative note to the fretless, which Mike actually built the neck brand new, hence the old one sitting here on the desk. Uh,
Mm.
and I mean, they're both crushing. They're both amazing. You know, just very different, and very different in feel. And I mean, I've taken out both of them and played live. Never had trouble. Of course, I haven't taken them to Alaska. I haven't.
That that'll be the acid test.
Well, that would be the one. But I mean, really, between the two, like I said, that's how I mean, like I said, I have all this other goofy stuff here, but when I get down to it, no matter what gig I hit, one of these will do it,
Mm.
and
Well, you got it in the bag, and you know that if you took something else as well, if that's not cutting it at sound check, you're going to know, and you've got
right.
your tried and trusted with you. I did that for a long time. Like, I'll take the empathy and another bass, and I'll use the other bass when we're doing sound check. And if I'm not happy with it, then fine, I'll just go to the empathy.
Hmm.
But then you see very often now, if I'm doing Uncle Funk, I'll take the empathy and the GB. And now I've started doing three where the Warwick Bootsy bass is in there as well. So I've usually got the Warwick, a GB, and the empathy.
Hmm.
Either way, I'm covered. I've got enough LEDs for the oh, look what we do, and the old eyes aren't what they were, of course. And we're wearing sunglasses, so that's kind of
Right.
required. But my general thing usually is use the Warwick. If we're doing a two setter, it's use the Warwick for the first one, and then an LED base for the second. But if we're doing an outdoor festival and it's daylight, there's no point having the LED base because
Hmm.
no one's going to see them anyway. So the Warwick will be the base for that. I've just got to sort out this whole balance conundrum, which we will get to
Yes.
shortly.
Yeah.
Yes, we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm going to start winding this up. It is 2 minutes to 5. I've got a roast dinner to cook. You've got stuff to do. It's Saturday. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining in. It's been great. Thank you for another 3 hours. Live Chat 101. Have a great week. Enjoy your bass playing. If you're out gigging, be safe. Look after yourselves on the roads. Drive carefully. I'll be going to Nick's funeral on Tuesday. I'll report back next week, of course. Be more content up on the channel. Jamie's got gigs to do. I've got gigs to do. I'll do a live vlog from the Queen show at Boysdale on Thursday. And we'll see you next Saturday. Same time, same place. Let me think. Where are we next week? It's 1st of March next week, isn't it? Oh, my word. We're in the
Yes.
March already. Hey, excellent stuff. So live chat next week is at 2:00. Same as today. We'll try and do another 3-4 hours. On that note, take care. You say goodbye, Jamie.
Here's all hanging with us, because we're
Yeah, mad as a box of frogs. And
that's
I'll see you next Saturday. Take care of yourselves. Have a great week. I'll see you next week. Take it easy.